Welcome back to Off Ball Takes. This is your host, Sharby Laws, and this is my co-host.
For Wells.
We are here with a live reaction to the NBA draft, the 2024 draft. That is, we've got a whole lot to talk about before we do really start, getting into it. And before it starts, obviously, it does start around 8 o'clock. But yeah, a lot of movement and a lot of happenings in the NBA, across the last, 48 hours in terms of trades, movement, even some draft picks involved. So we're going to be discussing that for a little bit. Then, obviously, once the draft starts, we're going to be locked in. We see Miami Heat zone. Let's go. Appreciate the support, man, as always. But yeah, we've got a ton of stuff to talk about. So before we do get started, please don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the OBT Podcast for more content and updates.
Yeah, so the NBA draft, we'll be starting, around 8 o'clock. I see Miami Heat zone in there. Who do you guys want the Miami Heat to get? In our mock draft, which if you haven't seen, you can watch that. We both actually had the same guy. We both had point guard Isaiah Collier, from USC going there. Basically our mindset was they'd need some type of guard. And I think he's a good guard, even though obviously he didn't have a great year there, I guess. But there was also a lot of other stuff injuries and, also the team wasn't very good. So I'm not out on him as a player. But obviously, again, there's some, I guess there's some pros and cons to him, right? He's a good scorer, good athlete, good size for a guard. But we don't know how well he'll be able to defend. Don't know how well he'll be able to shoot. But, isn't he a fat Kyle Lowry?
Isn't Kyle Lowry fat anyways?
Wow. I mean, he's a 6'5" guard, so he's a lot taller than Kyle Lowry, and he's also much more athletic. So I think he's a different
He's
player.
6'5", 205 or something like that.
Yeah,
he's a bona fide scorer though too.
Yeah, he's a big guard, but he's also tall. He's not he's not undersized. And like you said, he's a very good athlete, very good scorer. I guess Lowry, at different points, I guess could score, but I wouldn't really call him a scorer. I feel like he was more of just a versatile, do it all point guard.
Sure, agreed.
Yeah, but I don't. Again, it's I think he'll be good. Whatever team he goes to. But we got something from Shams, Nick Claxton, 4-year, $100 million deal to return to the Brooklyn Nets, right? So that was a guy that some people thought may be doing a sign-in trade, but it doesn't look like that's the case, at least for now. Maybe he goes somewhere else later in the season or next season or something like that, but you can't trade him once you give that extension that I think it's 6 months or something like that. So, yeah, kind of an interesting thing. But I guess, let's go back and talk about, some of these deals that have happened recently, because we had a few doozy of trades occur over the last 24 hours, right? So we can start with that. Mikal Bridges, right? Going from the Brooklyn Nets to the New York Knicks. I remember once upon a time we were kind of, theorizing or fantasizing about, hey, he played for Villanova, right, with those other guys. What if he ended up going there and playing with his other buddies? We didn't actually think it would happen, but now it actually has happened, right? Obviously, in terms of what the deal was, right, Mikal Bridges going to the Knicks and a 2026 second-round pick. And the Brooklyn Nets get Bojan Bogdanovic, right? So, that salary that they got at the deadline ended up netting the Mikal Bridges, but also a lot of first-round picks went to the Knicks as well. Collier can't shoot, though. Yeah, and that is a concern. But I think he can develop it. It's just, it'll probably take some time.
Yeah, he's a heck of a creator too. And that's what I think you guys need. That was tampering on the Knicks trade. I don't know about that, but with Collier, I think he has all the tools that it takes to be elite. And I think the plus side and the number one reason why we picked him going to the Heat was because of Spo. I think Spo is one of those guys, one of those coaches that can get the most out of his players, especially ones that, have all the potential, but maybe just didn't have all the tools in front of them, in college and things like that. And, at the next level, I think Spo, everybody knows the consensus is he's the best coach in the NBA right now. So obviously, I think, that's a great fit.
Right. Now, I will say with the Collier thing, if I'm not mistaken, I think without shoes, he's 6'2.5". So he's not really 6'5", but he may be 6'3.5", 6'4", I guess.
If he puts down the burgers and shakes, then yes. I mean, he's not, I don't think he's fat, bro. I think he's just built, you know what I mean? He's
a
not
bigger,
fat.
more
He's
powerful
stocky.
guard.
He's a stocky guard, but his ability to get downhill and use his body, I think, is something that a lot of guards don't have in the NBA, and I think he could use that to his advantage. I'm not going to say he's like a star, but I think he could be a key rotational piece for you guys.
Right. And that's, what a lot of these players are being projected as, right? There's not like a whole lot of star, potential, being discussed with a lot of these players. Not that none of them can't be good, but just that they're more so. He's a running back. That's funny. But back to this Knicks trade, right? So it was Bridges going to the Knicks with a 2026 second, and then the Nets get Bojan Bogdanovic, 4 unprotected first-round picks, including one from 2025, one from 2027, one from 2029, and one from 2030 or 2031. He said Tristan da Silva. Maybe. I mean, I feel like he might be...
He's another Hawkes.
Yeah, he might be gone before... What they have 15,
no,
right? So,
we'll
go after.
I had him mocked at 16. I think you had him mocked at 16 too, if I'm not mistaken.
We had him going to Philly.
Yeah, we had him going to Philly. So there is potential for you guys to kind of like swoop in and take him. But I mean, he's an NBA ready guy, but I don't necessarily like label him as a creator. I think he can do interesting things. But once again, he's another Hawkes. I don't think you guys need another Hawkes. I think you guys need, a guy who has some elite playmaking and elite creation skills. Because, I mean, we saw that the offense that you guys ran was very bogged down at times.
Yeah, and then he also asked about Tyler Smith.
That's an interesting one. I don't know. What do you feel? How do you feel about Tyler Smith?
I mean, where did I have him in the mock draft? I want to say I had him like late, like really late first, like towards the end of the first round. I feel like 15 is going to be a little too high for him. Like, I don't think he's a bad player, but and then he'll probably still be drafted earlier than 29, but
yeah,
I don't think he goes before 20, maybe.
The funniest thing is I didn't even have the guy mocked in my first round. That kind of speaks to how I feel about him. And I know a lot of people didn't mock him in the first round. No problem with that. But that's the guy from the Ignite, right?
Yeah. Okay. He mentioned 6'11" forward.
Yeah, I know who that is. Yeah, he's all right. Yeah. I think he has a lot of potential, a lot of upside, but I just wouldn't use a first round pick on the guy when there's other guys that are readily available. Like I would take Tristan da Silva over Tyler Smith.
Right. Yeah, I feel like you said, that's late first, second round where it's like you take a flyer on him, see what he does. Yeah. But I don't think he'll be.
Let's talk about the Knicks though.
Yeah, exactly. So back to the trade. Then after those Knicks picks, right? So Knicks picks for 2025, 27, 29, and 31. Then you have a protected first round pick from Milwaukee, 2025. Then you have a 2025 second round pick. Then a 2028 unprotected pick swap. I don't know if I'm sold on Big Back Collier. But with that trade, the Knicks are clearly going all in, right? Like obviously, he's better than Bojan Bogdanovic. He's a good player. It's a lot of picks. Obviously, It's basically 5 first-round picks, which is, that's a ton. But, if you're the Knicks, Trent's asking for the invite.
You just got to join in the Discord, unless he's already in there.
Now he's in there. So now you just drag him in there, and there we go. So, but it's a lot of picks, but I think, they're gonna, they have enough roster spots where how will the Knicks be able to pay everyone?
They don't.
They got money. Hartenstein I think will be the casualty. But,
yeah, Hartenstein's gone, but that's why they're gonna draft a center in this draft.
Yeah, and then they'll probably have to keep Robinson then.
Yeah,
unless they move him for another big.
I don't know,
but it's interesting. I don't know if you have to do that. It just, depends. And then Randall, is probably another guy where you kind of wonder what they do with him. Because, you got Anunoby who came back, right? They re-signed him on the 5-year, $215 million deal. You already have Bridges. You got Brunson. Then you're going to have whoever you have at the 5. So, the odd man out is also probably Randall, too. So,
yo.
Yeah. What's up, bro?
Yo. What's up?
Yo, bro. Nigga, I love the off season, man. I love it, man.
Yeah, we love it too, bro. It's the best time of the year, to be honest, especially when your team doesn't do anything all season.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. the Knicks. I just seen a report that Isaiah Hartenstein's coming back.
From who?
Where'd you hear that?
Yeah, bro. So the Knicks. Oh, to the Knicks. Yo, the Knicks. They're gonna go out there and compete next year.
Yeah. Where'd you see the report? Twitter?
Yeah, it was from a source, but
Okay.
there's so many sources nowadays, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's coming back, bro. That's going to be really difficult to pull off.
Yeah, that's the thing is that it all depends on what a team is actually going to give him. Because if a team like OKC or Orlando that has cap space, if they give him more than like 16-ish million, so if they give him 20 million, then he's gone. But if that's just a smokescreen, and then then those teams use their cap space on other guys, then he's probably going to go back. So it's just a matter of like, do we buy that OKC is going to give or Orlando is going to pay him? Do we buy that? I guess would be the first question.
Orlando?
Yeah, they mentioned like OKC and Orlando are the two teams that would be interested. Orlando is different just because they already have, I guess they have Carter. I guess he'd be the only big. But
yeah, I don't buy the Orlando one. I think the Thunder would be a good spot for him. I think that's the one that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, Homelander, Knicks are cooking something nice. Homelander, what do you think about the Giddey Caruso trade? Because that was also something that happened. That I think we covered on our last episode, but we didn't do it in a live stream. But it's an intrigue. It's a good trade, I think, for Oklahoma City.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, dude,
I
think I was talking to Yarby earlier in DMs, and I really think the Wizards lost that trade, bro. I do. That's why I asked you about that.
Lost it? Dude. No. Well, what's your reasoning? What's your reasoning? I'm curious.
Well, my reasoning is, hold up, let me look at the trade again.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on my screen real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
So y'all can talk real quick. Hold up.
Yeah, but
okay. All right, I got it. Listen.
All right.
So I get what you're saying about like new owners and stuff like that, and that's from the old personnel and stuff like that. But you're telling me this 14th overall pick's gonna be better than Denny?
No, okay. Yeah, continue.
Right, and then you get because you got more than the 14 overall pick. So you got the
2029 first, second most favorable of Boston, Milwaukee, Portland,
and two second round picks. Dude, yeah. Picks to me in general, I feel like are really just 50-50. Like I don't think first round picks and second round picks are all that people make it seem like, in my opinion. I really don't. But for Portland side, I just like what they did, right? You're trading for a player that improved in every aspect of his game last year. The dude was averaging 9 points a game. Now he's averaging 15. His shooting percentage went up by 7. His 3-point percentage went up damn by 7%. Like his rebounds went up. Like he finished the season strong, and he's still fairly young, and he's on a very affordable contract for Portland. So I like what Portland is building up there with Scoot, Simon, Shannon Sharp, Shaden and Ayton. Yeah, Shaden Sharp and Ayton. So I personally like what Portland's doing. Now, maybe, Wizards can prove me wrong, but I doubt it because even with their draft capital, they're still going to fuck up. They're the type to draft Johnny Davis. So, that's why, there, draft capital don't mean shit to me for the Wizards. Not to swear on your thing, but, it doesn't mean nothing for the Wizards because they don't know how to draft. I mean, you got a new personnel over there, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same thing. So,
all right. Good points. Those are good points. But, my rebuttal would be, number one, brand new management. Management has a great track record. They helped build the Oklahoma City Thunder as currently constructed, studied under Sam Presti. So that's number one. So completely different regime because the old regime was based off of Ernie Grunfeld, Tommy Shepard. That's kind of the running joke on our podcast is Tommy Shepard was Ernie Grunfeld Jr. That's the guy who pretty much put the Wizards in the dirt. They're trying to climb out of it. The owner was also in the mix as well. Same thing as the Redskins, now Commanders. Just ownership necessarily doesn't have to be involved in every facet of basketball, especially, team building, because that's when you get contracts like Beal. I don't think, the management just blindly handed Beal that contract. It was more so management and ownership that did that and decided to do that because the owner thought that they can contend, but clearly that wasn't the case. So now you've got a brand new regime, you got a brand new coach, a coach that prioritizes player development. And I don't think Avdia fits the timeline. If you want me to be real, this management didn't necessarily draft Denny Avdia. They didn't draft Johnny Davis either. Their pick was, I think it was Bilal Coulibaly and Tristan Vukcevic. I think those were their picks. So that's what they're starting with. And I like those building blocks because this is going to be a long process. It's going to be like a 5-year deal. And that's why, we see that the 2029 pick is involved because they're in this for the long run. It's not just going to turn around in a couple of days, a couple of years, even. It's going to be a long process. So I'm cool with it. Avdia, as good as he was for the Wizards, you got to remember he was on the Wizards. So it's not like he was on an amazing team improving. But at the end of the day, we've seen, other young players and other young, really good players go to contenders or better situations, and then they turn up even more. I hope for the best from Avdia, but I don't think this was a loss on the Wizards' part. I think this is a very fair exchange because we get, multiple first-round picks and second-round picks as well. And you get Brogdon, which is somebody else that you could potentially flip and trade up even higher in this draft. Or beyond that, you could flip Brogdon for something else. Also, you need Brogdon as well because Tyus Jones may not even come back. So then you're stuck with JP and Brogdon. I don't know if they go guard in the draft. I don't know if they go, wing in the draft. I don't know. But I think you brought up some good points, though. But I don't think it was necessarily a loss for the Wizards. I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, right, Malcolm Brogdon, for anybody that trades for him and gives them any value, any trade for him, I think it's stupid. That dude cannot stay healthy for his life.
Agreed.
That dude is always injured. So if the Wizards can pull that off, then yeah, fair, right? I think those are great points. If you get a first out of Malcolm, then you start looking at this trade even whew. But there's gonna be teams that would be desperate and dumb that would try to pull that off, though. I can see it.
Yeah.
Malcolm, when he is healthy, he is a good player. Don't get it twisted. He can hoop.
Yeah, he adds depth to any roster that he would be on. It's just a matter, like you said, it's a matter of health and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the Wizards, they got to move on from pieces. I'm expecting them to move on from Kuz. I'm expecting them to move on from other guys. I'm just expecting a whole retool of the roster. Chris and I talked about it, relatively early in the season. We were like, nobody's safe on this roster, but pretty much Jordan Poole because his contract is, immovable right now. And also Bilal because he just got drafted.
And then we got some stuff coming in from Woj and Shams. So basically, Woj is kind of saying that the Hawks are closing in on Risa Share for the number 1 pick, right? Which is kind of, I guess, what we expect.
Yeah.
And then Shams Charania said he's told that Jimmy Butler will not be signing an extension with the Heat or any other team ahead of his opt-out in 2025 free agency.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I gotta make a video about that right now, real quick. But I will say, I'm blocking anybody from freaking Woj and Shams. They don't let me enjoy the draft. Just leave me alone, bro. They're leaking picks 50 minutes before the thing, bro. Can we just bro? The first overall pick. The reason why I love this draft is because you could say, oh, it's gonna be him, but for longest it was Sar, or whatever his damn name is, and then now it's this other dude. Woj thing is getting blocked. I can't stand him. But I'll be back.
All right.
Yeah.
Pop in whenever you want, bro.
Yeah. So Miami Heat zone. He asked, what does that mean? So that pretty much just means that he's not signing an extension with anybody. So that means he will probably look to be a free agent next off season. So if you don't give him an extension, that means he could leave Miami, or he could be a free agent and re-sign. So, there's a lot of options. So that may make it more difficult for a team to want to trade for him because if he doesn't, sign it at all, right, then that's a real gamble where he could just walk, right? Whereas if you traded for him and then I guess signed an extension, then you could at least have a little bit more security with him, over the long haul. But going back to the, Giddy Caruso thing. Yeah, Homelander, we talked about it. We like it for Oklahoma City a lot, and they still have cap space, so they still have a lot of stuff that they can do. Obviously, we just gave our thoughts, I guess, on the Avdia Wizards trade, right?
Yeah.
I think we like it for both teams, right? I guess 100%. For Portland, you would like to. I would need to, like he said, which I think is a good point. I think you would like to see what else the Wizards do with that, right? Like, do they move Brogdon? Do they also, do some other stuff? But but we both thought like, hey, once the new people come in, there's no, the Wizards have not lost. Yeah, I don't think the Wizards have lost it yet. I think it's too early.
Way too early.
I like it for Portland a lot, but I think the Wizards can do something with that because, like you said, you can take Brogdon. We talked about it before we even started the stream. You could take Brogdon, you could flip him. You could trade one of those other picks, trade down or whatever, and you don't really need him. So it's like,
and now we have 3 first-round picks. The Wizards in this draft alone have 3 first-round picks. Now, like, I already know you were going to get into it. Sorry to steal your thunder, but you could also combine those 2 picks and move up even higher. If you really want to, if there's a guy that you really think is like a franchise changer or like, somebody that you're high on, then do it. That's why you moved Avdia. You got rid of a piece that you necessarily weren't as high on. And it's because of that regime. I'm telling you.
Right. So, just a lot to unpack, but I think, so far, I think the Wizards, it seems like they're trying to do a job of cleaning up that mess from, the previous era. So hopefully
Tell me about it.
Get there. Yeah, but what did we think about the Knicks-Nets deal, right? Because we didn't really get to talk about that a whole lot. I feel like, again, it's a lot of picks, but I think if you're the Knicks, it makes sense just because it sounded like he wanted to go there. And, I'm going to just kind of chalk it up as like you overpay for a guy that you really wanted, which is fine. And also, like, they have enough players on the roster that they don't necessarily need to have, like, a bunch of picks each year, right? They already have basically, like, 6-7 guys, right? Because you have the starting 5, you do whatever you do with Randall, and then even a couple of bench guys. So, to me, I think that's a good move. Like, I think it's a no-brainer because he's better than Bojan Bogdanovic, and he's better than anybody you could have gotten in free agency. So, and also he played with these guys. He played with the guys in Villanova, so there's already a level of chemistry that they probably don't really need to, work on because they did it before. So I think this is a really good deal. And it's like you put a bunch of 3-and-D wings next to Brunson. You can protect him on defense. And you might be a more versatile team depending on what, I guess if you move OG to the 4 maybe, and Randall's moved. So I like it a lot for New York.
Yeah, and what's up?
Yeah, and then for Brooklyn, it just allows you to go into a full-on rebuild because they did another trade, right, where they got their picks back, right, from the Harden deal, I think, right? So now they're set so they can tank and they can still keep the pick, get prepared for Cooper Flagg and others.
Yeah, and
so I think it's a win-win.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a huge win-win. It's just, 2 franchises in completely 2 different places. And, Homelander, I think he said it best. Knicks are cooking something nice. Which is definitely the truth because, McCall Bridges, I think he's awesome in terms of what he can do on offense. But the thing that kind of catches my eye about him is his defense. And I think adding him to that roster with the Knicks is like a match made in heaven. Like you said, the chemistry is already there. There's not going to be a whole lot of integrating that they need to do. And, I'm hyped for them because, the way that Woj and others kind of framed it is, they're building this roster to contend against, the Boston Celtics and kind of rival them in terms of what they're able to do on the defensive end of things. Because I think we've never really had questions about what the Knicks were able to do offensively because we know Jalen Brunson is that guy. And when this roster is fully healthy, this is a team that we can get behind for sure. But now that they're adding and stacking on top of the defense and just doubling down on all things considered, because at the end of the day as well, you have OG Anunoby coming back as well, through free agency. And, him, Bridges, that's a devious, wing duo, I think, in terms of what they're able to bring on the defensive end. And you get Randall back next year, healthy. And I think the only thing holding this team back from, taking the Celtics maybe to a 6 or 7 game series would be health. So I love it for the Knicks. And like you said, with the Nets, it's about time, and we made a short, I think, earlier in the year talking about,
could they be one of the worst in one of the worst situations in the league?
Yeah, we thought they were, one of the most irrelevant teams in the league. And, now be bad, get your picks, and do good with those. And then, you know, hopefully you can get some generational talents to come through and save Brooklyn, because they need a lot of help. But, you know, they're still reeling from a couple of mistakes and two very bad big threes, or two big threes that went very poorly. So
yeah.
I think it's a win-win, like you said.
Right, exactly. And then, you know, we already talked about the Giddey Caruso one because we liked it for both teams. Like, you know, I know a lot of people don't like it for the Bulls, you know, and I understand because it's like the team that had a ton of picks got no picks. But, you know, you did get a guy where you're taking a flyer on a young guy, didn't pan out for Oklahoma City. Maybe he plays well, maybe he doesn't. And then obviously for the Bulls, like, you get Caruso, you know, and he fits pretty well in there. They're going to have some really good defense.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much everyone on the floor. And it's like if you're going to pay one of those guys, if you're OKC, I think you'd rather pay Caruso. So, I mean, you know, like I said, for the Bulls, it's just another flyer and a young guy. I know there's some reporting about maybe they might, you know, see what LaVine looks like next to those other guys. Who knows? But from the Bulls' perspective, hopefully that means that their rebuild is also starting as well, right? Where they move on from DeRozan. There's already been talks about maybe he goes somewhere else. Maybe you move on from Vucevic, LaVine, and others, and just, you know, look to rebuild. See if you can max out in next year's draft, because that's the thing. Next year's draft is regarded a lot higher than this year's draft. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. You know, if you can get one of those top picks, and I think for the Bulls, their pick is top 10 protected next year, anyways. So they need to tank, because if they don't, they're going to lose that pick, and it's going to go. I don't remember who it goes. I think the Spurs, from the DeRozan sign and trade. So you don't want to give the Spurs a top 10 pick in next year's draft. Or no. I guess it'd be 11. So you don't want to give them a lottery pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Homelander said Knicks are crazy. They could beat Celtics. Yeah, so the draft, you know, starting up, right? Obviously, you know, you got, you know, people getting ready to come to the podium, I guess, relatively soon.
Yeah.
But
the pick will be in shortly.
Yeah, exactly. And according to Woj, sounds like it's probably going to be Reese Ashier. Obviously, you know, we won't say much until it's official, but a lot of stuff going on here right now. I mean, because, you know, you even had other rumors like Paul George, right, possibly opting into the last year of his deal and going maybe to Golden State, getting a 4-year max deal. You know, we talked about that on our channel in a previous video, and we also talked about it over at Miami Heat Network. So, you know, just I guess to reiterate, like, you know, if you can do it if you're Golden State, I guess, but, you know, the question I think would mainly be, what's the package? Do you have to give up Kuminga? Do you have to give up Moody? Do you have to give up those young guys? Or is it kind of just like, can we just cheese and basically give up like Chris Paul, you know, and other guys that we don't necessarily want? I don't know, right? That's kind of the concern. And obviously then with Paul George, you have the factor of his age, where he is 34. You give him a 4-year max, he'll be 38. And, you know, can you really trust it, considering he's a guy that generally isn't healthy? But he is, you know, he's still a very good player. It's risky, but you also have to kind of understand and factor in that Golden State's trying, you know, to put together a team around Steph that can still contend. Obviously now the job is harder because the core itself isn't quite as good as what it used to be, but he's still very good. So the job is harder. You know, it's probably doable, but I don't know if it's easy. I guess, you know, the question would be, you know, just kind of to ask you again, would you do that if you're Golden State? Of course, it depends on the package. But let's say it's like best case scenario.
Okay.
Right? Where it's like you just have to give up maybe like one of those younger guys, right? Like, would you do it, or like does it not matter to you?
If Kuminga's included, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I just don't see it working out. It's a Paul George that's aging. We talked about it on Top Notch Takes and Trent's channel. Like, it's just not going to be a good fit, in my opinion, because, you know, you look at Paul George's resume come playoff time, it's not amazing. Pandemic P, playoff P, whatever you want to call him, it's not amazing. And then, you know, you also look at, you know, his numbers during the regular season. Health is another factor as well. I'm just not willing to kind of give like a crazy package, you know, for Paul George, just to kind of like contend somewhat or extend the championship window a little bit. Like, I don't think it's a great long-term move, because at that point, like, that's your final move. If you're bringing in Paul George, that's the last move to kind of keep the Warriors dynasty or whatever's left of it alive, because I'm assuming Klay Thompson maybe leaves. That's also another factor as well. What does the team look like? If Klay is there as well, who knows? I don't know what this is going to look like.
Right, because that's the only thing if I'm not mistaken, financially, right? Like, I think financially they have to do some things, right? Because I think, like if Paul George opts in, I think that puts the Clippers in the second apron. And then if you're Golden State, right, if in order to get out of that second apron, I'm pretty sure you have to get rid of Chris Paul, get rid of Klay Thompson. But I think if you guarantee Chris Paul's contract, because I think you have to guarantee it in order to kind of get this deal done and not have to give up anybody, super, super significant, then they're in the second apron, and that just becomes more difficult. But it's a gamble because, again, like he's clearly the most talented player of anybody in this deal that could be in there. It's just given his age, you don't know. But
yeah,
Homelander
like
says Knicks. Homelander says Knicks are crazy. They could beat Celtics. I'm a little. Does that mean? Is he saying that they're crazy thinking they could beat Boston, or is he saying like they're so good that they could beat Boston?
I think he means they're good enough to beat them, which
Okay.
I think they're good enough to contend against them. That's kind of why I chose my words wisely. I think, like, once again, I think they're good enough to take the Celtics to a 6-7 game series. Do I know for sure if they're going to get over the hump? No. And that's also considering like they have Randall and they're fully healthy. Both teams fully healthy. That's a tough fight because I think the Celtics starters clear the Knicks starters, but once you bring in a guy like Bridges, then that increases your depth tremendously. So I think that also kind of adds a little bit of a switch up factor that I don't think we'll know until we see both teams in action next year. Because Porzingis isn't going to be, healthy at the beginning of the season. Yeah. So, it's going to take some time to ease him back in. Obviously, hopefully he'll be ready for playoffs. But, I think that's like one of the big series rivalries, whatever you want to call it, playoff matchups that I'm kind of anticipating in the Eastern Conference. And I think it brings some life to the Eastern Conference that we haven't seen in a while. So, because they're legit.
Exactly.
Like, no matter what way you look at it, bringing in Mikal Bridges is a legit move on both ends of the floor.
Yeah. Obviously it sucks if you lose Hartenstein, because he was a big part of their team last year. I wouldn't say it's like game over, like but it is a tough loss if they lose him. So I think, if they just re-sign OG, obviously, which, again, you needed to do. You couldn't lose him for nothing. It's a lot of money, but it doesn't matter, right? Like, because, again, you're not getting anybody better than that if you let him walk. So if they bring back Hartenstein, absolute home run pretty much of an offseason. You don't have to do much after that. If you lose him, that's rough, but, but they'll still be good. It's just you would need to go out and get another center, like you said, whether or not it's in the draft or, through somebody else getting moved.
Yeah, I would say, like, as long as they don't trade up for a center, cool beans. Just draft whoever's available at that center position and take them. All right, so the first pick is in. Zachary Resaucher goes number 1. I believe that's who I had mocked number 1.
I had Star, but it doesn't matter because we knew that. I think we both knew that Resaucher was going number 1.
Yeah. Good move.
Yeah, exactly. So, obviously we talked about it, right? He's a wing, right? He's pretty versatile, obviously. I guess he's right now more polished than Sar. Obviously not perfect, but Atlanta, when you look at their wing depth, I mean, again, DeAndre Hunter, Saddiq Bey, possibly, because I think he's a restricted free agent. Jalen Johnson, who's obviously very good, so he's a keeper. And then after that, I mean, Bogdanovich, right? Who's like a 2-3. And then
I consider him more of a 2.
AJ Griffin, right? So, I mean, again, not a lot of great options at wings. But I guess, from the perspective of Atlanta, it's going to be interesting to see what they do beyond this number 1 pick, right? Like, do they decide to move on from one of the guards, Trae Young or DeJounte Murray, right? What do they do with the wings that are on the roster already? Like, do you decide to move DeAndre Hunter, right? Do you bring back Saddiq Bey? There's a lot of questions that Atlanta would still have after this deal, or after this pick. But, I don't think we both thought that, even though, like I said, I didn't have him as number 1, but I knew he was going to go number 1. Because I just think, again, positionally, wing is probably the weakest for Atlanta, even though they do have some good ones other than Jalen Johnson. And he can slide in and fit right next to him. So,
yeah.
Sar to the Pistons. So they have. That's what James Wiseman fan said. Welcome, James Wiseman fan. So
It's what, fifth? Oh my God!
So,
I don't
yeah,
think Sar
so
falls that far. Oh my God!
Yeah. Detroit has the number 5 pick. So obviously, that would mean he would have to fall. Now, last year we did see a guy who was projected to be a top 5 guy, and Cam Whitmore drop all the way down to 20. I don't think that happens with Sar. I think some of it is going to depend on how much a team wants, like say Donovan Clingan, right? Because obviously, that's a guy that clearly teams want. So is that a guy, that possibly, that teams maybe trade their picks around? Maybe. But Sar, I feel like will go before Detroit.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, like, hey, props for you for hoping and throwing that out there. But the only way you're getting Sar is with trading with the Wizards. If you want me to be honest.
Well, I thought James Wiseman fan was a Warriors fan. I don't remember James Wiseman. I swear they said they were a Warriors fan. That's what I thought.
I guess
I don't remember
know.
I don't remember them being a Pistons fan.
Okay, that's interesting.
I mean, I could be wrong, and maybe I am.
Maybe he's just saying Sar to the Pistons so they can get Wiseman back. I don't know.
Well, I thought that there was some reporting that he might get his rights renounced, and then he'll be a free agent. That's what I thought I saw.
Oh wow, okay.
And that means he can go basically anywhere,
wherever he wants. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the other question would be, if you're Atlanta, so what do you do with the rest of the roster? Right. So because I think we both talked about that they probably need to move on from one of either Trae Young or DeJounte Murray, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that,
it's tough. Yeah, that's a lot of decisions, but I think Reese Sharon adding that wing depth is like a good start, in terms of correcting things, because I think you're going to need him. You're going to need him.
Yeah, and then after him, right, then you got to, figure out what do you do with Clint Capella, right? Because presumably they're going to trade him. I don't think they're going to keep that guy long term. So where does he go? Any team that could use a center, right? But he's probably not like a option number 1 center for any team. It's probably more so, if we can't get center X, then we'll get this guy. I'm a Warriors fan. That's what I thought. I'm just saying Pistons should trade up. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think that would make. Yeah, I don't really have an issue with that. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
I wouldn't have a problem if the Pistons, traded up.
Right, and that's the thing, because I feel like we're expecting at least one team to trade up, right? We don't necessarily, or for somebody to trade down for sure, right?
Right.
So
like
I think a lot of people expect that Memphis might trade up depending on what happens, right? That's one. Some people think Charlotte could trade down, right? And usually that's who people think, will swap picks, right? Like usually Memphis and Charlotte.
Yeah.
Houston, right? What do they do with their pick, right? We don't know. So,
yep.
But I guess, but I feel like, obviously we'll see what happens with the number 2 pick, right? I think we're expecting it to be Sar, right? And then after that, most people usually have, Reese Sharon, Sar 1 and 2, and then Reed Shepherd from Kentucky at 3. So that's where I kind of wonder, if Sar goes 2, does Reed Shepherd go 3? Or let's say there's just a random scenario where Sar doesn't go 2, or like the Wizards do something with their pick, then that's where some craziness could happen. But
watch the Rockets pick too, because I think that's the one that has a lot of value, and I know they're looking to shop it. But I don't know. Who knows if they move something on the clock like that?
Right. Yeah, but for Detroit, I mean, like they weren't in a great spot last season, but I guess obviously we'll get to Detroit when we get there. But I feel like
I'm in no rush to talk about Detroit.
Yeah, but whoever's available, at 5, I guess we'll see who's there, unless they trade up, because I guess it would depend on who would they want. Like, do they want, like he mentioned, Sar, but I don't necessarily know if that's who they want. I mean, like, I guess that'd be interesting, because you mentioned you think he could be a 4, possibly too. So if he goes to Detroit, he could play 4 next to Duren.
Yeah, but the problem is, does he fall there? No, I think the Wizards.
Got it from Washington.
There it is.
Shams Charania. Yeah,
there it is.
He's in the report, so we'll bring him back. So Alex Sar going number 2 to the Wizards, which again, we thought that those 2 guys would go to those 2 teams.
Yes.
So now the real draft starts at 3. Does Reed Shepherd go 3rd to Houston? right? Or does Houston trade the pick? Again, we already talked about Sarr, right? Raw big man on offense, but he's got some good defensive potential there, right? Obviously, he's got to add some size and strength to his frame, but there's high potential, but also potentially high bust potential because, like you mentioned, the stats for what he did before the NBA are not necessarily that impressive for a guy going in the top 2, right? And then obviously, him not being, trying to kind of turn down playing for the Hawks, kind of an intriguing scenario that I feel like we've usually seen, like, with one of those types of guys. I understand it from the perspective of the Hawks already have some bigs, but I don't know. That is kind of weird. But there is a world where he does pan out and he becomes, pretty good.
I think he's going to be amazing. This is the best fit, best available. I think, in my opinion, I think, he's got tons of potential in terms of, what he can be, especially considering the league timeline, how many elite bigs are going to be around when he's kind of at his pinnacle for his career. And, I love the pick. I think this is awesome. Like you said, he's got all the potential. He's got all the tools. Like you said, he needs to bulk up a little bit. But, this is awesome. I really actually do like this pick. You're pairing Bilal with another French guy. And this is the play, I think.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think,
one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
The skepticism, I think that's the word, skepticism. The people that came from, him playing overseas, because his OTE numbers were actually significantly better. It's just the overseas numbers. He took a little bit of a step back. I think he would have been a lock for number 1 if he stayed in OTE, because we've kind of seen the production that the Thompson twins have had. So, that's his decision. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to a place that he's wanted and that he wants to go as well. So I think that's kind of going to be a favorable situation for both sides.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with that. Because, again, I think both you and I are high on him. And that, I think he can be better than what some people expect. But I understand, like you said, the skepticism of just like in general, we've seen big guys, in the past not always pan out.
Yeah.
Especially if they're kind of raw. So I think we just got another, never mind, the same notification from Jake Fisher. So.
Got you.
But,
man.
What's up?
Hold on, the pig's coming. But I know who it is, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, you're frozen on my OBS. That's so weird.
My thing shows that he's muted, I think, or like.
No, I'm talking about you. You're frozen on my OBS. It's weird.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, maybe try leaving and coming back. I don't know.
Yeah. Let me close the Xfinity stream.
Yeah, you're completely frozen.
Yeah. I'll go back in.
Because you're not frozen on my Discord. You're frozen on my OBS, which I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll leave and come back. Better?
Nope. That's so weird.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, I guess we're stuck with you being frozen. I don't know.
Horrible. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just amazing. I guess I could restart my computer.
I don't think it's you. I think it's like OBS. Like the only way that's it's probably going to be fixed is if I end the stream. I don't know if we want to do that, but
yeah, I don't know.
Ooh, who do we have next? Houston's up on the clock.
So Houston's 3, and so obviously again we've talked about Reed Shepherd, right? I think we both had him there on our board. But again, I guess the question is does Houston actually roll with that pick, or do they end up trading it? Because I think they would be open to trade it if there was a really good deal available. But the question is it actually there?
Right.
Because but like we said, the draft starts at 3.
Yeah, this is interesting because I think Reed Shepherd is the best option, best available, best fit. But who knows? They could completely zag and go, I don't know, Nikola Topic for some reason. And pick is in.
Getting Reed Shepherd.
Yes, sir. Reed Shepherd. Yep, that's a great pick, like we talked about. We talked about it on, our mock draft. Knockdown shooter. I think that's why everybody's falling in love with this guy at number 3. That's what Houston needs. You're adding another 3-point shooter. We know that he can do some stuff with the ball, on and off the ball. So I think he fits the mold for sure.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No, I just see on YouTube. I'm
telling you, the only way we're going to be able to fix it is probably just to end stream and I close OBS and restart it.
So what are you thinking?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me try and.
Yeah.
No, I hit be right back and it's still frozen. So. That's so weird, dude.
You think we should restart it or no?
We could.
Because the only issue is that we don't want to put ourselves in a position, obviously, where we lose our awesome viewers.
That's my point. I don't want to just bail on the people, and I don't want them to be in a situation where they can't find it. Because we've got 5 people.
Yeah, and shout out to all 5 people.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in here. Watching the draft with us and recapping and stuff and hearing our thoughts, but it's unfortunate that Chris is frozen right now. Like I said, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yep. But now the Spurs have the 4th pick, right? And this is where I think.
Okay, I think I fixed it. Let me try and just finagle this. Keep talking though.
Yeah. So the Spurs now have the 4th pick, right? So this is, I think, where for a lot of people, the draft, really starts. Yeah, I see it. It's good now.
Yeah, it's like cropped badly though, but whatever. Yeah. I ain't gonna press about it.
Yeah. So but the 4th pick, this is where I think a lot more people. Shout out OBT.
Hey, what's up, Somley? Shout out to you, man. Yeah. Shout out to you, man.
Yeah, thanks for the shout out. But yep.
Appreciate it, bro. Remind me, Somley, after stream. I gotta mod you, buddy.
Yeah. But the Spurs, it's going to be intriguing to see what they do, obviously, because we both, if we look at our mock drafts, right, we both had Stephon Castle going there, right? That's the athletic guard from UConn, right? So obviously, there's a lot to like, right, about, his game in terms of like cutting and his athleticism and size. Obviously not really much of a shooter, which again is a problem for a lot of players in this draft, right? It's not the issue for a guy like Reed Shepherd, right, for Houston. So that's why we like that pick for Houston, because they don't have a lot of great outside shooters. And that is a guy who, should be coming into the NBA, really good at shooting threes, right? Like that's his best skill, and he shot over 50% in college. But for a guy like Stephon Castle, right, his thing is athleticism. But obviously, that may not be who the Spurs pick, because we don't really know what they're going to do. They could pick a guard, but they also could get a little bit freaky, right, and possibly draft a wing. Or, somebody else like that. Because they have 2 picks, right? They have the 4th pick and they have the 8th pick, unless they trade one of those. So they could go, somewhere else, right? They could go somewhere else in terms of who they pick. But do you think they end up picking Castle, or do you kind of just think that they end up picking somebody else?
I had Castle mocked at 4. I think what they do is they go guard at 4, and then at their next pick, I think it's 7 or 8, something like that. Then you go wing. That's what I would do. I wouldn't double down by any means, and I definitely wouldn't take the. There is a world where, like you said, they zag completely, get freaky, take Mataz, call it a day. At number 4, that would be, I think, the craziest swing of the draft, because I think that changes a lot, and a lot's already been changed going into this thing already. But I think they go Stephon Castle, because he's got so much upside as a playmaker, defender, 2-way guy. That could easily be paired with Wemby. And he's a big guard. It's not like he's tiny. It's not like he's going to be a liability that Wemby has to clean up. This is going to be a guy that you can pair in tandem with him. And then at pick number 8, you take, me, I picked Saloon. I think he's awesome. Great wing, has the 3-point shot already. So, and pairing that guy with Devin Vassell would be awesome as well, in my opinion. So I think there's a lot of potential for the Spurs to come out as winners of this draft. It's just, I don't want them to screw up and take like a Nikola Topic at number 4.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's where it might get a little bit problematic.
Yes.
Right, if they do that. But from David Aldridge, just kind of to put that out there, which is something we didn't even mention. When he was talking about the Denny trade, also it helps the Wizards be worse, which is kind of a big thing for next year, so that way you can be bad enough to possibly get, that top pick. Now, obviously, the lottery odds are flattened, so just because you're the worst team in the NBA doesn't mean you'll get the number one pick. As a matter of fact, the last several years, right, the team with the worst record doesn't get the number one pick. But, it will be less likely that they will be good, right, by moving on from him. And we'll see what they do with, the extra pick that they got, because they already took Sarr, right, and then we'll see what they do at 14. But, it still doesn't look like the pick is in for the Spurs yet, so they are taking their time a little bit longer, I think. Yeah, which again, after 3, everybody's going to be weighing their options, right? Because at a certain point, right, then now you kind of just wonder, like, okay, are we going for best available guy? Are we just going for position? We don't know what the Spurs are going to do, because
they're probably fielding calls too.
Right, exactly, because their pick history in the last few years, right, has been a little bit different, right? Like some of them were good, right? Obviously, Wemby, no brainer. Vassell, that was a later first round pick, but again, he's been very good. Right, Keldon Johnson was a good one. He didn't have a great year last year, but obviously, then you look at Josh Primo. I guess something happened.
Nothing. Continue. Sorry, that was just a bad reaction by me.
Okay,
I saw something stupid.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah. So the Spurs have had some intriguing picks and decisions the last few years, but you get 2 lottery picks, right, and they're both top 10. So ultimately, you choose, like you said, I think 1 guard, 1 wing, and then see where you can go from there. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to get the top 2 players on their board, right? Oh, here we go. So the Spurs select, looks like it's Castle.
Okay.
So,
I mean, this draft is going pretty much as mocked.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, exactly.
Oh my
like
God.
I said, I think I swapped Sarr and Risa Share, but
Sure.
I knew that. Yeah, but I knew that
we addressed that. We talked about it. We already knew that the odds had shifted completely. All the stuff came out. Sarr didn't want to be there. And now you've got Stephon Castle going number 4, which is exactly what we thought. We knew that this was going to happen in terms of pairing. I think, the backcourt help is going to be awesome. I think Stephon Castle is way more upside than Trey Jones. I'm not going to say Stephon Castle is your franchise guy, but at least, run with him a couple years, see what you got. Because I don't know what the guard situation is looking like in the next draft. I guess you have Dylan Harper. But are the Spurs going to be bad enough to acquire Dylan Harper in the first round? Who knows?
Right.
Like, I'm thinking Dylan Harper and Cooper Vlad go 1 and 2.
Right. Because
what's up?
Yeah, because there is a world where if these guys pan out for the Spurs, I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team, but there is a world where if they nail these 2 picks and those guys have really good rookie seasons, right, and then obviously Wemby in year 2 takes another step forward, right? There's a world where the Spurs will be better, much better than they were last season. Again,
yeah, way better.
Not at all saying they're going to be a playoff team, but they may not be quite bad enough to get another top 5 pick.
Right. All right. So does the draft start at number 5? Is that what what we're switching our narrative to?
Yeah,
First it was number 3, then it was number 4. Now it's number 5. Let's go.
Right, and that's the funny part. So we've with the mock drafts, we basically have what we've been talking about, right?
We're 4 for 4, man.
Yeah, exactly. Who should go where, right? And we knew, because we know those 4 guys were going to go, because the Castle one, you didn't know for sure, right? But I mean, that was one that I think we were pretty positive on that one.
Heck yeah.
Right? So now,
for every draft pick we get right, we need a sub.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We're on a road to 100 subs.
We need 4 subs. W stream, I'll just be in chat. I don't want to keep leaving. You're fine. You can pop in whenever you want. Like, there's no notification sound or anything. So if you just want to say something, just interject. Like, you could just be like, I want to say something. You could say something easily, bro.
Right.
You can pop in and out anytime you want. Your 2 cents is always welcome. And you add a lot to the stream. Appreciate you for even being here, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we appreciate that. And again, on the road to 100 subs, we got 5 or 6 subs in the last couple of days, and
Heck
we got
bro.
essentially our most viewed regular video with our mock draft. So we appreciate everybody watching that, and also subscribing. to the content, right? Because we're going to be, continuing to do this throughout the whole off season, right? But we already talked about Castle like we knew he was going there. So we had kind of already summed up, basically a good chunk of his game, right?
Absolutely.
He's a very good athlete. Yeah, very good athlete. Really good defensively. Smart player as well, right? Really
Winner.
good in terms of cutting. Yeah, winner. Obviously was on the UConn national championship team, right? So that's obviously cool to bring into the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he'll be like a primary ball handling point guard, but I think he'll still be a very impactful guard. Like, I just think he's too smart, to not have that stuff pan out. His issue is he just can't shoot that well.
Yeah.
If he can figure out the jump shot and even be average, right? I think that will go a long way in towards him reaching his ceiling, which again, spoiler alert, is going to be a similar thing with a lot of other players later on in this draft. But obviously the Pistons are at 5, right? So we'll see who they pick. Obviously the other guys are all off the board, right? And I think both of our mock drafts really start differing at 5 because I had Klingon, but I don't really feel confident that he'll actually go there because of the fact that we talked about it in our recording, right? The idea that, this guy, they already kind of have Jalen Duren, not that you should ever draft based off of fit, but I don't know if they would take another center next to him and just give up on Duren because, I don't know if he's done enough necessarily for you to say, like, this guy's a keeper, but at the same time, he's still very young. So I don't think, you should just give up on him just yet, right? So, like, it wouldn't surprise me if, I think you had Matas Bucelis, right, at 5. And I feel like that's probably the one that's much more likely. So, if I had to guess, because, again, you look at who they have, right? They have a backcourt with Cunningham and Ivy. They have a center with Duren. And then you have a wing in Thompson. But you could add another wing in Bucelis, and that could be your starting 5 possibly, right?
Yeah, easily.
Obviously, and again with Bucelis, similar thing, not a great shooter, but again, he was on the G League Ignite team, and he was another guy, kind of like a guy later in this draft, Holland, where his stock was much higher, right?
They were supposed to go number 1 and 2.
Yeah, exactly. He was looked at as one of the top 2-3 picks, but he's fallen since, so he could be one of those guys where, he ends up being better than what people expected in terms of him falling. Right, where it's like, oh, he fell too low, so he falls to, a team that you wouldn't have expected, but then he actually showcases why he was one of the top 2-3 talents going in, and then he ends up being significantly better, and everybody ends up being too low on him. But obviously the pick isn't in yet, so Detroit, similar to the Spurs, weighing all their options, but, it feels like Bucelis might be the one that goes there, but, I'm prepared for anything.
Yeah,
5.
Me too. Going back to the UConn thing, I think the Stephon Castle, draft pick is good. Like you said, I think the biggest question now is, or the 2 biggest ones are jump shot and what does he look like as the primary ball handler? Because I believe it was Newton, who was the primary ball handler for them, during both championship runs. So, Castle was more of like a 2, but more like a secondary point guard, if that kind of makes sense, where, they have some sets where they run through him, but normally he's going to the rack and dumping off to Klingon, which I think is why that we're going to see, him dumping off to Wemby, which is why he's being picked here. So, common sense, most practical pick. But like you were talking about with Detroit, this is where things are going to potentially get shaken up. Because a lot of people don't have Matas here, and a lot of people do. A lot of people, like you said, have Klingon. Some people even have Ron Holland. I've seen that kind of floated around. I've seen a lot of different names here. Cody Williams. I know people would consider that a little bit of an overdraft. But
Jalen Williams' brother.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, this is Detroit that we're talking about here. They could do anything. Like it wouldn't surprise me if it's somebody cuckoo. But I think at the end of the day, the most sound and solid pick would be Matas because I think he fits your timeline. He's a wing, and I think that's what you need.
Yeah, and I will say, like the Wizards, they are under a new management, right? Because they got rid of what was his name, Troy Weaver. I think he joined the Wizards, right, as a senior advisor, right? And they brought in Trayon Langdon, right, from New Orleans. So he's the guy that runs the operations now. And that's where, kind of like what I said about the Wizards, that's where I could see him kind of looking at some of the previous guys Detroit drafted and be like, yeah, I don't care about these guys. I'm just going to bring in the best, player available. But, like you said, Matas, just in terms of like what they don't really have, probably makes the most sense. It's just I'm kind of curious to see what the new guy does, right? Obviously, they don't even have a coach, right? They're the only team that doesn't have a coach. But, they're still putting the roster together. Here we go. Ron Holland. So there we go. Look at that.
This was the pick. This was the one I think that is like, people were like, what on earth do they do? And I think this is a good swing, because this is what we talked about when we were talking about him, in our mock draft, where it's like the guy's athleticism is something that you really cannot pass on,
Exactly.
And I think that's why he's being picked here. Yeah, very interesting pick. I think the fit will be awkward off rip, but it has a lot of potential because of the athleticism. Now, the question is, we didn't even really get to talk about the guy, but he can't shoot. He can't shoot.
Right, yeah.
So, adding that to Cade, 24%, adding that to Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, interesting pick. But I think it goes back to what we were talking about with Portland, where it's like double down on the athleticism, double down on the skill. And I think, when you have those athletic gifts, the other stuff can fall in a little bit easier with time and development. I like the pick. Right. This is a good pick, in my opinion.
I think this is one where you're betting on a guy, right, who, again, similar to Matas, was looked at as one of the top picks like a year ago. He was looked at as one of the top picks in this draft. His stock fell because of G League Ignite. But as we know, we talked about it a long time ago, G League Ignite was a little suspect, right? Didn't really go all that well. And he put up, 20 whatever a game in G League Ignite. And, in theory, that's technically better competition than what it was in college. So it's like, it wasn't like he put up terrible stats. It's just like you said, the issue is he can't shoot. But, I think you hope that if everything else falls into place with the athleticism, then if it pans out, he could be really good. It's just like you said, you got some concerns because that entire Detroit starting five is very suspect in terms of three-point shooting.
Right.
Because Duren shoot threes in the summer league, didn't really translate into the regular season. Asor Thompson, one of the worst shooting forwards I think that I've seen in recent memory. And then Holland, not a great three-point shooter either. And then, Ivy and Cade, I guess they've kind of improved as three-point shooters. But, if they're their best three-point shooters in the starting five, that's, it's a little bit scary. But
they're lacking 3 and D, which is a problem in today's NBA.
Right. And
But
Woe said,
it's interesting.
Yeah. And Woe said Pistons are keeping the pick focused on Ron Holland. I mean, if you took him there, I would be kind of surprised if you took him just to trade him. So now, obviously, that changes a decent amount on the board. It changes a lot because now, right, when we thought a guy like Matas or Klingon was going to be, taken, those guys are still on the board, right? And the next pick is the Charlotte Hornets, right, which is another team that has gone through a lot of change, right, over the last year, right? So let's see.
Portland is trying to move up.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
so
what we talked about.
Right? Exactly. So we'll see what happens because it hasn't happened yet. But obviously, right now with Charlotte,
That was the pick that was going to be on the move. We talked about it.
Exactly. We did. And that's the thing about Charlotte is that they have a new front office, they have a new ownership, they have a new head coach. So obviously, that's another team similar to Detroit that's going through a lot of change. And so, whatever they do now, is not going to really be impacted by what the previous group, did. Obviously, they have LaMelo Ball. Obviously, they have Brandon Miller, Mark Williams. And I guess the thought process is if you feel like you're good with Mark Williams, then you could trade down, right? Because I feel like Klingon probably might still be the best player available, right? So you could trade down if you're, Charlotte, and then, do whatever else you need to do.
I think that's what they're going to do.
So we'll see what they end up doing if it actually happens. Because again, you got you don't have a ton of time to get it done, obviously. But obviously they can make the pick and then trade it. So, it's kind of funny because, again, the Holland thing changes a lot, right? Because now there's some players left on the board that may not have been available if Holland didn't go there. So now we have to see what goes on after that. So, but here we go. Let's see. So no, nothing yet. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Woj bombs.
Yeah.
I trust Jake Fisher and other guys, but at the same time, I need Woj's tweets, bro. I need his tweets.
Yeah. He basically is saying that Memphis appears to be closing in on a move for Klingon. So he thinks he's saying that the Grizzlies are going to be the team that trades to get Klingon, I guess. That's right? So I guess they'll be trading
so that's
up from Charlotte.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we mocked or talked about.
Right, if it happens. Yeah, official yet.
Because the CBS Sports one, they mocked that trade to actually happen. I was like, that's a big brain play. Like that makes 100% sense if it happens. Like
so yeah. So let's say, Klingon, either Memphis or Portland. Do you like it? Which team do you like him better for?
Memphis. I
agree.
I think Memphis is awesome because I think him and Ja Morant are going to be a lethal combo. Maybe not as lethal as, Steven Adams, but I think Klingon is going to be better on offense than Steven Adams. I think he has better touch. Steven Adams may have more physicality and stuff like that, but, at the end of the day, I think Klingon's going to be a good replacement. He's a good screen setter. Yeah, if he goes there, I think it's just going to be better. Because then if you look at Portland, it's like you have Robert Williams, you have DeAndre Ayton. It's like
those guys would probably be on the move, or one of them, maybe not both, but one of them would probably have to be on the move.
That's why I just don't foresee them doing that. I don't know.
Right, because I guess you could make the case like, hey, right, Ayton, he's got 2 years left on it. Because Kevin O'Connor's like making the case like Ayton's got 2 years left on his deal. Robert Williams hasn't been healthy at all, so. If you're the Blazers, you could, in theory, make this move and then take Klingon and then just be like, all right, we got a more stable spot at the 5.
Sure.
So, but obviously for Memphis, if you get him, pretty much after that, all you have to do is see if you can find some type of wing. And then, you'd have, a pretty solid starting 5.
Yeah. I'm curious what the package is going to look like if they do trade up, though.
Here we go. Charlotte is trading 6 to 9. So with Memphis. So Memphis is going to get Klingon, and I guess Charlotte will drop down to 9. So this is kind of essentially what was sort of mapped out, right? So
yeah, we mocked it. Yeah, makes sense.
Right. So Donovan. Right. So Klingon. We've talked about him in our mock draft video, right? 7'2", big man from UConn, as you already mentioned. Good touch around the rim. Improved as a post scorer, but probably early on, probably more expected to do like dump offs, pick and roll screens and stuff like that. Rebounder, obviously, right, with that size and length. And then defensively, very good rim protector, shot blocker. Because people have talked about, say like him versus Edey. And I think most people feel more so like that Klingon will probably translate to the NBA a little bit better than Edey, just because I think people feel like he's a little bit more, mobile. And that, most of Edey's value comes from his post scoring. And, unless he's like a starting caliber big, our team's going to play, through him in the post as much. And if they don't, then that might hurt, that might hurt his value a little bit more. Not that he's going to suck, but, but the Klingon pick, if you're Memphis, that's pretty cool. So if that, assuming that it seems like that's what's going to happen. So, because Jake Fisher, that's what he's saying, that they're going to trade back down. So obviously, I don't think Woj has put anything out yet, but, we'll see.
This is interesting. I mean, it's pretty much all going according to script except for Detroit. But what's new?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's a good switch up though. Like it's not like it's a bad move. I don't think anybody's gonna.
Here we go. So Charlotte is selecting Tion Saloon or Tion Saloon.
No.
So there we go. Wow. So in other words, Jake Fisher.
Sold. He sold. This is what I was talking about. I only trust Woj and Shams. Jake Fisher, we love you. You support us. You give us all the information when needed. Yep. But my guy, stay out of the draft.
Yeah. So that's another guy that was shooting up right in the draft.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, that's another guy that was shooting up in the draft, and he, very quickly because he wasn't initially looked at as like a top. Tier lottery pick. But I guess if that's the case, so does that mean Charlotte? So I guess if Charlotte's are they keeping the pick? Yeah, Charlotte is keeping pick, and then Klingon will make it to Blazers at 7. So there we go. So he's going to Portland then.
Oh, okay, so who's out of Portland? Who do we think's on the move? Which one?
I feel like it's I don't know. I feel like it almost is it I feel like I don't know, because like with Robert Williams. Like, the thing is that I feel like more teams would probably want him if he were healthy.
Agreed.
But the problem is he's never healthy.
Agreed.
So, does a team still gamble on that? Maybe. But I just... And also, his contract isn't quite as large as Ayton's.
Right.
So, I feel like if if all things were equal, I think a team would probably be more likely to want to grab Robert Williams. But again, his injury, history is kind of scary. So I guess, we'll talk about, Saloon.
Yeah,
and
let's
then,
talk about it.
We'll get into Klingon. So obviously, Saloon, that's a guy where, he played for France, right? And he had some, it's some interesting numbers with France, right? He averaged 9 a game, 4 rebounds, but he is 6'9", right? So he does have a lot of length, and he does have a lot of versatility to his game, right? I'm curious to see how this works in Charlotte. Like, do they use him as a 4, right? Or do they put Brandon Miller at the 2, right? And kind of just shift them into different positions. So I think there's a lot that you could kind of work with here. And then obviously with Charlotte, you got the Bridges situation where he's going to be a free agent, right? Does he come back and, they re-sign him and then, use him as another forward, or does he leave and go elsewhere? And then obviously Mark Williams, can he be healthy? Because he just had so many back issues last year where he barely played. But when he played as a rookie, he was pretty good. So, I guess, give your thoughts on, on him, because, this was also another, I think, relatively unexpected pick.
Oh yeah, this changes everything. I had him mocked at 8, so not too far behind, but still a little bit higher. I like the thought process, adding the 3-point shot, surrounding LaMelo Ball, surrounding these other guys and other playmakers. I think, I'm not going to say it's a competitive roster, but it's a step in the right direction, adding this guy. He's not necessarily like your creator kind of guy. He kind of reminds me of like a Keegan Murray archetype, where it's like, spot up threes, can play a little bit of defense. You give him the ball late shot clock, he might hit it. Something like that, which I think is something that Charlotte has kind of struggled with in terms of, having guys knowing their role and having defined roles. Just because they've been so young, there's been a lack of sense of direction. But now I kind of see the vision and I like it. And there's a potential for this to work out in their favor, 100%. But you do have to address the negatives. There is 100% that this doesn't work out in their favor, because this guy, I think, has bust potential written all over him. Not to say that I think so. I'm a little bit higher on him than others. I know some people have him kind of lower in the draft. Some people think, absolute non-starter, but he's 6'9", 6'10", 207. So he's got the frame, like you said, to be a 3-4. It's just a matter of where they play and what he's going to look like in the system. But I think it's a good fit alongside, what they already have.
Yeah. Yeah, because, they're in a intriguing spot, compared to some of these other teams, right? Because you do have LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller as your cornerstones, and Mark Williams, but we just have barely seen them play at all because they've been hurt. I guess Miller, was the healthiest guy last year, but I mean, most of the other guys barely played. And then obviously they, overturned the roster by a decent amount at the deadline, which again, it seems like Charlotte is stepping in the right direction. But, again, we've gotten some surprises already in the draft, because these guys we had mocked a little bit lower than where they've ended up going, right? Because Holland, we had sort of towards the bottom of the top 10.
Yeah, I had him around 7. Where did you have Holland?
I want to say I had him. I can actually look. I'm pretty sure I had him at 9.
Okay.
Memphis.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because I think this changes a lot for Memphis too, because now they kind of shift back to the direction of a wing, which is good, because I think there are some wings still available. You got Cody Williams. I guess you could consider him a wing, more of a 2 guard. There are some other guys.
Yeah, still have Matas.
Yeah. Matas too. Yeah. Thinking that Detroit picked Matas. Great. Can't wait to watch Crispy Flakes.
Yeah. Shams the same. Portland selecting Donovan Klingon. Again, we already talked about him. So, we don't really have to rehash that again. Right. But obviously, again, rim protector, rebounder, interior presence. Right. Should be a guy that should be relatively ready to, play right away. Right. Obviously he's got a lot of size to him for sure. Yeah. But, but now it's like with Detroit, or excuse me, with Portland, you have 3 centers. So how do you figure that out? Right. Because again, I think we both feel like one of those guys, at least one of those guys, is probably on the move. It's just, the question is it, let's see, Vive la France.
Vive la France.
According to Keith Wells in the comments.
Yeah.
So, kind of interesting.
I think he's talking about Saloon.
Yeah.
And just probably all the French prospects in this draft, which is kind of crazy to think about.
It is. It really is. And some of them, again, some of them went higher than expected. So,
yeah.
But yeah, we talked about Klingon. So obviously for Detroit, I'm curious to see what they do with their big man rotation, because like I said, they already have 3 centers, right? Which is a lot. Miami Heat Network says he's got something to say, so we'll drag him in and we'll let him talk. So go ahead.
Go ahead, Trent. What you got to say, man? You hear it, Trent?
Yeah, but either way, I do, like I said, I do wonder what they do with those bigs. It's just, again, like, you know.
Yo.
Go ahead.
Yo, so y'all seen the Portland pick, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yo, so, because I'm a little behind, but I
Sure.
fucking Shams keeps freaking exposing the damn picks. But, so do you think Ayton is staying, or, like, do you think they stay with these guys? Like, what do you think?
Yes. So basically what we said was we think that one of Ayton or Williams will probably be moved at some point, maybe not necessarily right now. I think we both said like more teams would probably might value Robert Williams, but his injury history is so sketchy that, you know, it's such a huge gamble, right? Whereas with Ayton, like he's the more talented player, I guess. But, you know, also at the same time, I guess, you know, people feel like there's more questions with him. But one of them I feel like is probably going to get moved, but you don't necessarily have to do it right now. But it is kind of funny because they do have 3 centers. So that's a lot. I mean, I guess Minnesota has, you know, the 3 bigs as well.
Oh, that's different, though.
Yeah, Portland. Well, yeah, exactly. Because Towns can shoot and Naz Reid can shoot. Whereas who's the best 3-point shooter out of these guys? Ayton.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing.
Right. So, you know, but I think one of those guys is probably not going to be there long term. But I feel like Williams is the one that maybe a lot of teams might take another gamble on as like a, you know, like a rim protector, rebounding guy, and his, you know, his contract I think is a little bit cheaper. But, you know, yeah.
You there?
You there? Oh, well, I can't hear him right now.
No, me neither.
But I guess, you know, while we wait for him to come back, I guess we can also kind of talk about. So, yeah.
Oh, my fault. I don't know what the hell happened. But what I was saying though was Robert Williams, and maybe I'm being a little biased. Hey man, Miami needs a backup big man to tell him to come over here, man.
Yeah, and that's why we feel like if there's one that gets moved, I feel like more teams would want him. I just feel like it's a little bit easier to have him in there as another center as opposed to Ayton. Not that Ayton is horrible, but, you know, I just feel like with Williams, if he can be healthy, which is a huge if, right, there's a lot of positives to like. He can, you know, rebound, especially on the offensive glass. He can protect the rim. He can pass pretty well. You know, obviously he's not really a shooter or a scorer, but, you know, depending on the team, you may not necessarily need that. Like, you know, a lot of teams I feel like could be like, hey, let's take a flyer on him because we know, like, you need a little bit more size now in the NBA. So I feel like depth. You know, yeah, and depth. So it's just the injury history is a little bit scary, but, you know, I think sometimes you take a flyer on these guys. So
I think
ask you a question
what's up?
Quick, right?
Yeah.
So, now Zach Edey's coming soon. I have a feeling. Y'all think he's 20 or 15?
I had him 17.
Okay, so top 20.
Yeah, I had him Lakers.
Yeah, I think
I had him going to Lakers.
Yo, let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something real quick. If you want to get views and subs, if he goes to the Lakers, you need to end the stream. I'm telling you straight up. You need to make a video, or one of y'all need to make a video. That video will blow up in 5 minutes.
Oh, of course. The Lakers are a gold mine.
Lakers get so many views, and Zach Edey's a hot topic in this draft. You are getting so much subs.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because it's just. I guess my question is what do GMs, you know, and scouts actually think of him? Like, do they actually feel like he could be a very viable, you know, at worst backup big? Do they think he could be a star? Do they think he's more of like a bench guy? Like, I don't know, you know, how teams view him, but like, I think we're going to have to wait a little bit before he gets picked. Like, you know I had him higher than you, but like, it wouldn't.
Where did you have him?
I think, didn't I have him at OKC or something like that?
Oh my God, you had him 12.
I think I did.
No, bro, I don't think he goes that high.
I feel like he's gonna, especially with the way that it's turned out now. Now he's definitely probably gonna go lower because now the guys that we thought were gonna go higher, are gonna go lower now.
Yeah,
so
see?
he's probably.
real quick, not to cut you off. Sorry. About
You're
that.
good.
Sure.
Memphis needs a center, and I'm not saying they got to take a risk that early, but Memphis needs a center.
Right.
There's no more Steven Adams. Jared Jackson cannot play center for his life, and Brandon Clark's not a center. I'm not saying they're going to take him early, but you never know.
And that's a good point because there were reports about Memphis is intrigued by Zach Edey, so it doesn't mean that they're going to take him. But it's a good point where it's like, if they feel like we desperately need a center, then they could possibly take him, higher than expected because they're in a different spot than some of these other teams because they're not as bad. They're not bad at all. They just had a horrible season, but they're not like some of these other teams where they were bad last year and they're going to be horrible this year too, right? They'll be better if they actually have decent health. So
they need a wing too, though. That's the other problem.
Exactly. Yeah, like they're in a spot where their situation isn't, as contingent on this pick. You know what I mean? Like if they horribly screw up this pick, they're not in as much of a bad spot as maybe some of these other teams. But I think if you're in, but I guess you could also make the case that if those other teams are going to be bad, like they'll just be bad again next year, and then they'll just have another shot, next year's draft. But with Memphis, if they screw that pick up, then they may not get another opportunity. But they could always trade somebody. So but I think either big or wing.
Yeah, I would value the big over, the wing. But that's just me personally.
Especially if there's a good one available. It's just, after Klingon, who would be the next best available center? So
probably Edey, Kelly Ware. There are guys in this draft, but I feel like Edey has more value than both of those guys.
And I feel like Ware will go lower.
Very low. I think he's going to New York. I think we both do.
I don't think he goes. Yeah, I don't think he goes top 10 at all. But I guess number 8.
Yeah, it's the Spurs, right? They're on the clock.
Yeah, that's the Spurs. So that's obviously their next pick after Castle, right? And they took Rob Dillingham, of course, which is exactly what we expected, right?
Whoa.
Now, what I will tell you is this. Before we got on the stream, there were reports about the idea that one of Dillingham or one of those other guys could go higher than anticipated. So if you're the Spurs, we'll talk about it now. This is a guy that we really liked. We thought he was going lower, right, towards the end of the lottery, but now he's 8. So now if you're the Spurs, it's very intriguing because you have a backcourt now. You have both a point guard and a shooting guard, right? So now you could possibly move Vassell over to the 3, right? I guess do whatever you got to do with Sohan. And then you have Wemby at the 5, right? So, and, Dillingham can do some of the other stuff that Castle doesn't do as well, right? Like he's a better, shooter and whatnot, but he's also very small. He's 6'1". And I think, not a great defender. So that's
horrible defender. Well. He might be the worst defender in the draft. But my God, the guy's offense is insane.
Right, exactly. 40. Go ahead.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. I love what the Spurs are doing right now.
Yeah.
You know something? I honestly thought that would have been too soon. 1 sec, keep talking, my fault.
Yeah. But the thing about Dillingham is, again, he can offensively do some of the stuff that Cassell doesn't do as well. He's a much better 3-point shooter, right? Obviously he's smaller, right? But then you also could factor in, hey, you got Wemby protecting the rim. You have Vassell on the wing, and you have Castle on the perimeter. So you could protect Dillingham maybe better than some of those other teams could. Obviously, again, the defense is a concern, but he clearly is a good offensive player. So I think this is a really good pick for the Spurs. I mean, I think
Minnesota traded.
Okay.
For Rob Dillingham.
Whoa. Minnesota?
What the? All right, bro.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Okay. Wait. So
wow.
Is this meaning? What does that mean?
So that means I guess that if you're Minnesota, you got your future point guard next to Ant-Man.
Bro, that's elite.
Yeah. And you can factor now. Obviously, he's more of a scorer, right? Versus obviously Edwards can score and defend.
It's what they needed, though.
But you do have an offensive guy, which is a weakness for them. You do have Gobert. You do have McDaniels. So pretty wild, pretty unexpected. If the Spurs had kept it, would have liked it for the Spurs. But I also do like it for Minnesota. I guess the question is, what are the Spurs? What are the Spurs getting back?
Yeah, I need to see the returns, but my God, I'm in love with
Shams
that.
actually, yeah, because Shams, you said you're in love with it.
Yeah, that's an amazing
for
move.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so not at all what I would have expected. So that completely changes the math completely. I mean, that's.
So what does that mean? Like, who would be included in that deal? Like Monte Morris? Like, I don't know. Like what?
Yeah, but the thing is that the Spurs have a little bit of cap space, right? So, like, I mean, is it possible they just swapped picks? But I mean, like, it doesn't say that, so it's like,
yeah, that's what's concerning me.
Right?
Can't be Mike Conley. I don't know. This is interesting.
But they gave him an extension though. Oh, here we go. Memphis is taking Zach Edey.
Oh. Memphis takes Zach Edey.
Zach Edey. So
what is going on?
So he went higher than, because I had him at 12. He went 9. I figured he would probably, like go somewhere that needed a big. But hey, so now we got to kind of unpack all of this. So Minnesota came out of nowhere, traded for a guard that's a very good scorer. We'll see what he does as a rookie, but that's insane. Wouldn't have expected that at all, that a team that's a contender, right, was able to pull off, getting a lottery pick. And then we have Memphis taking Zach Edey, right? So I'm going to assume he's going to be their starting center. And that was something we talked about where, not that long ago in the last 10 minutes, the idea that it's possible that, hey, Memphis likes, there were reports that Memphis likes Zach Edey. All right, so here we go. So the Timberwolves are trading a 2031 unprotected first and a protected 2030 pick swap. So no players. So what the heck was that?
How did they just fleece them like that? Now you want to talk about an L trade from a perspective of like a team? Like, oh my God, Spurs just got fleeced, bro.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. That's insane. So the Spurs traded. Yeah, so the Spurs got back a 2031 unprotected first and a 20. That's so far away. I mean, you're talking about 6-7 years from now.
No, bad move, Spurs. Rob's values. I would have kept Rob Dillingham at that point. You pair him with Stephon Castle. Oh my God.
And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the Spurs. We don't know because, like I said, they've been kind of weird at different points where sometimes they do cool stuff, other times I don't know. Like Josh Primo. That was kind of random. That was kind of weird. That was a little bit whack.
But that's bad, bro. In my opinion, like if I were to grade that, I would give them a D. I don't know what that is. Maybe in the long run it works out. Maybe it works out, beautifully for them. But I don't think Minnesota is going to be bad in 2031, 2030. Like,
I mean, that's 6-7 years from now. I guess the only thing you would have to bank on is like, is it a scenario where like Edwards is ticked and then leaves?
Bro, he's not leaving there. I don't think so.
Like, that's so far away where it's like,
it's horrible.
How can, like, how do you even react to that? Like, I don't even,
bro.
But that's why this draft has been crazy. Cause again, what even happened? Now, I mean, like, there's gotta be a player that they're getting back or something, right? Like, there's no way that it could just be that. Like, no way.
No,
like,
that's a bad trade. That's an L trade. Oh my God.
If that's all they get back, I don't like that for the Spurs at all. I honestly completely forgot that Minnesota even had first to give up. Like,
yeah. To be real.
I forgot about. Yeah, I forgot. But those were the only ones. 2024, 2031. What
all
the heck
in,
was that?
Win now, move. All in, win now, move. You got your creator of a point guard. That is amazing. Yeah. That is amazing. Yeah. And this guy can hide defensively too. Like,
on Minnesota,
yeah. Look at their point guard rotation as currently constructed. Mike Conley, okay defender. Nothing special at this point because of his age. Monte Morris, absolutely not. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I guess I consider more of a 2. But,
he's a good
I mean, but to have Alexander Walker come off the bench and Rob Dillingham potentially start, that offense is you're going to see it get boosted up. Not necessarily because of, Rob Dillingham's passing ability, but more so because of his shooting and creativity.
Worst case scenario, really good off the bench, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, worst case scenario, really helpful offense off the terrible for Spurs, great for the Wolves.
Sums
Like I
it up.
said, I don't
This
know.
is stupid.
I don't know where that came from. That's just so random, so unexpected. I can't even believe it. I can't even believe that like a team that's a contender was able to get somebody in the lottery. That's just insane. Zach Edey to Memphis.
I can't believe he went top 10, bro. I can't believe he went top 10. That's all I have to say.
I mean, I had him at 12, but
top 10 is crazy.
I didn't have. Yeah, well, here we go. Utah is picking Cody Williams at 10. So I think that's good for.
It's a good pick.
Yeah, it's a good pick for Utah, right? I mean,
Yeah.
again, they didn't have a wing.
Yep.
Well, yeah, no, they don't really have a wing.
No, they don't. It's a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good pick. It's Jalen Williams' brother, right? Obviously, a little bit different, right? He shot threes well in college, but it was on limited attempts. He's also skinnier, so he's more of like a finesse guy. Still athletic, right? But Williams is a lot stronger, but also at this point more developed because he's been in the NBA for a couple of seasons. But good pick for Utah. I'm still just flabbergasted over the Minnesota San Antonio thing. I still can't believe that no players, like really nothing.
What are they doing? I like you said, we do have things to address in terms of Williams and Zach Edey, but at the end of the day, I think this is bad. This is the story of the draft. Like we thought Ron Holland going to the Pistons was the story, Mataz still being on the board. But no. Those are nothing compared to this. This is a generational mistake. I don't care. Like as early as it is, this is a generational mistake. Oh my God.
That's wild that we had, Trent in here talking about, we really like what the Spurs did. We're talking about the backcourt, hyping it up as the future backcourt. And then San Antonio was just like, nope, not doing that.
Like,
I don't get it at all. I don't understand what.
Isn't that wouldn't that be your dream scenario if you're San Antonio? Build your backcourt in one draft, and in the next ones, if you're bad in the next couple of years, you just add wing depth and build the roster. But my God, this is making me cringe.
All I will say is the only thing that would save this is if the picks that they got back for Dillingham, they use in some type of trade to bring in like a star player or something. That's the only way that I would feel good about that, because then you get somebody who's already good right now, right? Like if you somehow got Trae Young, right, with those picks or some other guard, right? That's the only way I could say like, hey, that makes sense, right? Then it's like you're not upset about that. You're upset if you're the rest of the West, right? If you're, because Minnesota got a lottery pick. But that's the only way that could save that trade, because otherwise I hate it for the Spurs. But Zach Edey, 7'4", Purdue center, all right, 4-year guy, got better every year, right? Put up over 20 and 10 a game in college, right? Post scorer mostly. He can rebound, he can block shots. He moves, I guess, fine for his size, but he is 7'4", 300 pounds. He's a big dude. So in Memphis, though, the infrastructure I think is solid for him, because you do have Jaren Jackson Jr., who can protect the rim and who can shoot. So that, frees up some space. He can definitely set some screens. You could throw the ball inside to him. I guess it'll make, Memphis a little bit more interesting, I guess, offensively. It's just the real question is, does he translate to the NBA, right? Because, this was a pick that, again, this was a guy who's, like you mentioned, he was considered the best player in college basketball, but he was not the number one pick, and that is because there are some questions about, how good is he actually going to be in the NBA. The best version of him, though, could be really, really, really good, especially for a team like Memphis, where, again, they needed a center. You already have some established guys with Ja, with Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. They just need a wing. Like, if they can find a way to, get a wing or something like that, that would be really good. And they already have some good guys like Marcus Smart, who can guard wings. I guess, we'll see what they do with some of the other guys, like Vince Williams or G.G. Jackson. But, it's this. I mean, I like that better for Memphis than whatever the heck we saw with the Spurs.
Chicago just took Mataz.
All right, so there we go. So, and now, isn't that where he grew up, right? Like Illinois? Yeah, so I guess, I guess they took the Yeah, so I guess they took the hometown guy.
Good.
Obviously, yeah, we talked about him. Good player, right? 6'9", very versatile. Has a lot of different skill sets. You know, just is not a very good 3-point shooter, right? He didn't shoot well for G League Ignite. If he gets better, right, then you have a long, versatile, you know, athletic, skilled wing. If he doesn't shoot threes well, then that's rough. But obviously for the Bulls, I'm just very intrigued to see where they go from here with this team, because obviously they made the Caruso deal, right? You know, not that long ago. And, you know, it sounds like they're probably gearing up, you know, to make some other deals, right, with their team, right? Like maybe they move on from Vucevic, maybe they move Levine, maybe DeRozan's gone, maybe somebody else. But, you know, this is a solid pick because, again, this is a guy, you know, who fell significantly, right, from what was expected, because everybody had him mocked at top 5. I had him at 8, but that was only because there were a couple of guys that I kind of were reaching for, right? Like I think I had Devin Carter at 5 or something like that, and obviously he's not on. Yeah, but he's not on the board, right? Or he is on the board, but he's going to go much later. Now there's a couple of guys, right, that we had in the top 10 that still are available, right? Because you still have Necht, right? Dalton Necht.
Yeah,
right?
I had him in top 12.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, I guess now we're at 12, right? So for the Bulls, and now we move on to the Thunder. So this is another team, right, that like Memphis, you know, is a good team, right? They're not an actual lottery team. They're a team that they were the 1 seed last year, went out in the second round, but still have a lot of room to improve. They have this number 12 pick. Very curious to see what they do. Do they draft a big? Do they draft a guard? Do they draft a wing? Do they trade it? Or, you know, do they absorb somebody into the cap space? Because they also have a decent amount of cap space. Very curious to see what they do. There's a lot of different permutations that they could, you know, make with this pick. I had Edey here, but he's not available. So, so after that, on my board, there's Necht, right? Dalton Necht, Topic, I guess. You know, Salon is gone, right? Dillingham is gone, and those were guys that I had towards the end of the lottery, right? So, you know, now I'm very curious to see, you know, what's after that, right? So, because there's gonna be, you know, because now, like, I don't really know where this is gonna go, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Because there's multiple guys that I had going much later that went earlier. So
agreed. I don't know where they go from here. You know, since we're on Oklahoma City, I'm just gonna stick to my guns and say they pick Dalton Necht. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, and that would be a guy that I think if you get him, you know, his skill set should translate right away. He can shoot. He's a good scorer, right? And that's a guy that you could have off your bench as a 6-man type scorer guy if they pick him. I don't know if they will,
right?
Because they could still, you know, surprise us and pick a big. Because I don't think the other bigs that are left on the board are looked at as, you know, potential lottery picks necessarily.
That would be a huge swing. Like if they pick like a Deron Holmes or like Kello Ware or something like that, that would be very, very intriguing.
Right. So, you know, obviously, again, the pick still hasn't been made yet, so we're just waiting.
They're working, bro. They're working.
Yeah. But what the heck?
I'm still stuck on it. I'm still stuck on it. Can we go back to it, please? Can we go back to the Spurs, please?
Yeah.
That's a generational mistake, bro. Like, and I get it. We even talked about it. Like, the main question with Stephon Castle was, is this guy going to be the point guard and is he going to be the primary ball handler? Right. My next question would be, is there room for them to get back in to this draft, you know, like make a play?
I mean, they would have to trade something else. They would either have to trade one of the players that's on the roster or a future pick. And I don't know if they would trade a future pick for this year's draft.
Right.
You know, so I mean, if that's the case, I mean, they might be cooked in regards to like the rest of this draft. Like, cause I mean,
we painted them as potential winners if they came away, you know, walking away with 2 good, solid picks. And what did they do? Yeah. They had it in the palm of their hand and they just let it go. I'm still in utter disbelief. You built your backcourt. They built their dream backcourt right here. Maybe they know something about Dillingham that we don't. Right.
Now, yeah, I don't know.
Because defensively, we already know. I think he's a lost cause on defense, if you want me to be honest. Not because of, you know, his ability, but I think it's because of his frame. I don't believe in the frame.
Yeah, because even Conley is a little bit more, I guess, you know, stronger, is sturdier than him.
100%.
But he's also much older.
Yeah.
But he's also much older.
But even in his prime, it's a very different play style. Rob is very offensive oriented. Nothing wrong with that. We see that all the time in the NBA. It's just like, it's interesting because you had kind of like the perfect Robin to the Batman,
I just still can't believe it.
They were forming the Justice League over in San Antonio. They had Superman and Wemby. They had Batman and Robin. Yeah. And now you're stuck with Superman and Robin. Cool.
Yeah. I haven't met a Spurs fan in recent memory. The last time I talked to a Spurs fan was years ago.
I don't think I've ever talked to one.
Yeah, it was years ago. But I don't know. I guess, the question is like, is there a world where some of these other end of lottery teams just trade their pick for stuff? Like, there's, like Sacramento, like, cause we talked about, like, is there something where like maybe they trade that pick, to try to bring in some other wing help? OKC, what do they do with it? Right? Do they draft somebody or do they, trade it? I'm at a loss here, kind of, I'm still stuck on that Minnesota thing. I really don't know what to say about that.
I mean,
we've talked about it.
I'm trying to piece it together. Like I see what they're trying to do, but that's just something you wouldn't do.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have done it.
And to be fair, none of us are GMs, but based on the track record of these kinds of deals, you just look at it and you're skeptical about it. I don't understand what the thought process was, considering, normally when you see a deal like this, it's like, okay, they traded a player away that's, maybe their value isn't crazy. Like normally it's like, okay, yeah, you fleece them, great. But this is more like you had your dream scenario and you just let it go. Yeah. I don't care. That's going to be a topic of discussion for the next 2 hours. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And then, back to that Bulls pick, again, you're, Matas, if he doesn't shoot well, there's Giddey, who's also not really shot the ball well from three. And, obviously Kobe White can shoot. But like, what do they do with their centers? What do they do with their wings? I don't know. So
this is a risk that I wanted Chicago to take, though.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, again, I feel like that one, because of how he fell, like where he fell, like at a certain point, somebody was going to pick him. So, if it's going to be, somebody, hopefully the Bulls can kind of maximize what they're going to get out of him. But holy moly, I mean, that Spurs Wolves thing is just nuts.
Bro, we're still waiting for OKC. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Feels like it's been 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, Homelander, I don't know how many people in the draft, that you've been following, but, if you're still here, in the chat, I'm kind of curious who you would want, or if you even want them to use the pick at all. Would you prefer that they trade it? But, I mean, on my board, if I look, I mean, like I said, Edey was there, and he's gone. So the only players that are, here we go. OKC is, well, you know what? Never mind. I forgot. You said don't listen to that guy. No,
don't listen to that guy, bro. Okay. He sold us badly.
Okay, but I guess, yeah, I don't know if you're gonna love it, if
what is it? What is it? Just say it.
It's Nikola Topic.
No.
Now again, nothing's official yet. So obviously, that's coming from Jake Fisher. Obviously, we'll see what actually happens. If they take him, that's interesting. I wouldn't have expected it. But obviously, nothing's official. Oh, here we go. Shams Charania. It's official. Nikola Topic going to Oklahoma City. So, very funny. I actually had him at 11. So, he went one pick after. So, yeah. So, Topic. Yeah, you know what? Yarby, you're the Topic guy. So, I'll let you, talk more about him. So, Trent wants back in. So, he can come back in. So, Nikola Topic, as we've talked about him, big guard, 6'6".
This is horrible. This is horrible. The Nikola Topic to Oklahoma City. Are you kidding me? That might be one of the worst decisions of all time. From a track record, from the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have a great track record in terms of drafting and hitting. This is a big effing miss.
Yeah, I guess I
don't like this guy, bro. And he's probably not even going to play this season anyway. He's got a partially torn ACL.
So I know you
Yeah,
don't like him. That's why it's interesting. But dude, I don't know how to work this Discord. It keeps kicking me out. I was trying to talk to you guys the whole time when Zach Edey got drafted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, backed out by accident. But going back to Zach Edey, real quick, I'll make it fast. I told you that's exactly what they were gonna do. I knew it, bro. I'm like, they need a center, but that pick can be one of the worst picks or the best picks. They took a risk.
Yeah,
they sure did.
It's a good fit though.
It is.
It's a good fit because they didn't have a center. Yeah,
they're tall. But going to this Tokens pick, right? So now they got Cason Wallace, they got Shea, they got J Dub. Caruso. I mean, Caruso don't play guard, but I mean, damn, bro. Like, what the fuck you taking him for?
That was stupid, bro. And he can't defend. Like, he doesn't fit their identity. I don't know. It's awkward.
But like you said, if he doesn't really play this year, I mean, Oklahoma City, you know, they're going to still be good regardless of whether or not he plays. Yeah. So it may just be something where they're just going to try to see what he does, you know, like future-wise. But I guess, like, technically he, quote-unquote, fits with, like, the type of players that they're trying to grab in terms of, like, these, you know, skilled players, you know, that have the ball, even, like, the taller guys. But like you said, it's another guy where it's, like, it could either work really well if everything pans out, or it could go really horribly because, again, we've talked about him. He's a guy that doesn't shoot very well. Not right now like a great defender. You know, he's got some ball handling and passing and playmaking skills, so that's cool. But then the physicals had come out about him, which were just very strange because it's like his wingspan they thought was 7 feet, but it's actually a negative wingspan where he's like 6'6", 6'7", and so it's like a 6'5" wingspan. And then also he's got the major injuries, you know, when he's 19, which I think is also kind of a big risk as well. So Homelander doesn't sound like he's very happy.
This is stupid, bro. It's Josh Giddey. You literally got Josh Giddey again. This guy can't shoot. He'll never be able to shoot. He gets downhill to the rim and still can't finish. The only thing that's a positive is his playmaking. I'll give him that. I think he's the best passer in this draft. But that doesn't mean Jack Diddley's squat if you can't do anything with the damn ball. This guy's annoying, bro. Like, and I know it sounds like I'm like hating on this guy, but no, for real. Like, I don't think this guy is the one. Like, and for Oklahoma City to take a swing on him is very interesting. Like Trent said, it's very interesting. It could be a Chet situation where it's like, you know, he sits out a year, rehabs, whatever, and then year 2 he comes out like a freaking firecracker. Cool. Then I'll admit that I was wrong. But as it stands right now, I'm not high on this pick, bro. This is the weirdest pick of the draft for me.
So the main question is again, if he doesn't play at all this year, what do we see from him next season? But the good news is that you're not in, Oklahoma City, regardless of whether or not he plays, will still be good. It's just, it would have been, it would be nice if like you had somebody who's like, surefire going to play and then can help you this year. But, where it could work out, like you said, is if he, plays next, 2 seasons from now or whatever, and then he looks really good. And now obviously, Sacramento's on the board, so we'll see what they do, whether or not they keep it or pick somebody. This is Giddey all over again. I miss Trey Mann. Doesn't sound like Homelander's very happy with this pick. I thought he was going to go a little bit higher, to be honest. Like,
higher?
Well, only one pick. I had him at 11 because I thought somebody was going to take him.
Okay, to be fair, I had him at 10. Be fair,
you had him higher than me.
Yeah, but that was because I was under the assumption that Utah was going to be Utah, but they didn't. Right. They weren't Utah. They actually made a good decision.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Cody Williams pick for Utah.
That's the A+ pick for me. That's one of the higher graded picks.
Yeah, because it's a position of need. He's good, and he's got room to grow. So, I think you got the best of pretty much everything you could ask for from that pick. Now I guess if we go to Sacramento, I mean,
I don't even know what you do here, bro. I had Rob going here.
Yeah, because I mean, some people think that they will trade the pick. I don't know if they will. If they use it, probably another wing, or maybe another guard. I think I had Saloon down here because I had him lower. But maybe Necht. Does he go to Sacramento?
I think it's going to be it's either going to be between Tristan Da Silva or Jared McCain.
Okay. So you think Silva goes higher than,
expected, yeah. I think he's the Hawkes of this draft, bro. I think he's like the sleeper, and I think people have learned their lesson on sleeping on the super seniors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, yeah, but like you said, Topic is probably going to be out for next season with the ACL tear. So this is a guy that you're going to have to wait another year, to see. So
yeah, I'm not high on this guy, bro. He's not going to
Yeah.
be good, bro. I don't believe. Sorry.
Yeah, so
I'm messed up over the Spurs, bro. I'm still messed up. This has got me messed up, bro.
Yeah, this draft has gone very different from what I expect. It's kind of funny because the way it started felt like, all right, it's nice, right? The picks, the guys are kind of going, we got Sacramento's getting Devin Carter, so they took a guard.
Good pick.
Dumb, dog.
Good
That's
pick.
That's some bull
What'd you
crap.
say?
That's bull crap because Miami's 2 picks away, and that's what we wanted, bro. And they fucking do that.
Bro, you'll get
Carter?
Collier though. Collier's good.
Yeah, you wanted Carter?
Hey, yeah, Collier's cool, but I wanted Carter.
He wasn't gonna fall that low. I had him mock to Chicago actually.
I had him at 5. Well, no, I didn't have him at 5. I had him at 6. I had him at 6.
Whoa, that's high.
Yeah, well,
But yeah,
I mean, I liked him. Here we go.
he's elite
Kings have
though.
Yeah, so Shams said that Kings have had Woj said Kings have had significant trade talks around number 13, but focused on Providence's Devin Carter. So I guess that means that they couldn't find anything, in terms of trading the pick. So I guess they're gonna keep him. We've talked about him. We like him. Undersized, but very athletic, very good rebounder, very good defender. Just, got to figure out the jumper, I guess.
No,
right?
he
So-
figured it out. Second year, he
Yeah.
figured it out. He took the leap. It's like 30s now.
Right.
It was like 20s, but like you said,
Exactly.
he took the leap. Will it translate to the NBA? Maybe, but in my opinion, this is a Davion Mitchell replacement.
Yeah, and I think he's another guy where it's like on the Kings, he should be able to, help right away because I mean like they have good players on the roster, that are already there. And you have some other scorers, right, where it's like you're not as reliant on him, to be really, really good on offense. So like he should be able to be freed up to do a lot of the other little things, compared to maybe if he was on some of these other teams where they're like, we have to have this guy, do, lottery type stuff.
Yeah, I hate that he's going to the Kings, but that's an A+ pick as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, so does that indicate that Herder's gone?
No, I don't think so.
Not necessarily, because I mean, like, I know
Not
they're
yet.
both. Yeah, 'cause I know that Carter is a guard, but I guess Herder can be like a 2-3. So
Yeah.
it's not yet. It just really depends. I think, it really just depends on what they want to do. Because, like, I would have thought that if they were trading the pick, then they would have traded it with, like Herder or, Barnes or whomever, to bring in somebody else. Because that's how you would have to do with the contracts. But if they just keep the pick, I don't know. But I would think that regardless of whatever happens with the pick, that they'll try to move somebody. So that's what I think. Yeah, that's what I think. Because I feel like they're gonna, if they want to be better, they're gonna need to do something other than just draft Devin Carter.
No, I agree. There's a reason why Fox is not even signing an extension. He said he's waiting.
Yeah. Exactly, because he wants to see what they're gonna do, and if they do whatever he wants them to do, then he'll probably be more likely to sign it. But I don't think drafting Devin Carter would be enough for him to be like, all right, we're good. I'll sign the extension.
Nope. Get the third star, bro. They have the capital to do it.
I agree. So you know what pick that I don't want, and I would start slamming shit? If the Heat take McCain, I don't want McCain on my team.
Why? He's dope.
Don't want him.
What is it? The off court stuff?
Correct. Call me
Figured.
crazy. Call me what you want. Don't care.
Figured.
I don't care.
Figured.
Yep. And it's bad for me to even say that because basketball wise, he's a shooter. We need shooters.
Yeah, he's elite.
solid. No, he for sure is. But I just don't feel it. I told y'all this before. I just feel like he doesn't really fit us.
I don't. And you guys draft off of Heat culture anyway. So I mean, I don't think you guys would be really missing him. Honestly, I think you're gonna draft somebody that will hit because you guys don't normally miss. Like, and if you do miss, it's normally because of the player and not necessarily the organization. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really talking about Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah, and he was what? Wasn't he undrafted?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's different than like
Sure.
whiffing on a lottery. That's different than whiffing on like a lottery pick.
Yeah.
You don't lose anything whiffing on an undrafted player.
I will. Yeah, I will. So I will say because I'm actually near Providence, and that's where Carter played. So it's actually pretty cool to see him get drafted right now.
Oh, that's fire.
That's nice.
Yeah, he's the one. That was the sleeper pick for us. One of them at least.
So next up, right? That would be the Wizards, right? Because that's the pick that they got back from Denny Avdia. So who are you looking at since you're the Wizards, in terms of who's available for them to pick?
Yeah, I didn't really plan for this one, so you're kind of putting me on the spot here. No, you're all good, but we just lost a wing, so I think we need to get a wing. I'm trying to look at the wings that are available. Tristan da Silva, not too high on the guy in terms of his fit with the Wizards. I don't necessarily like it. I think he goes somewhere else.
You're picking Bob Carrington.
Wait, like actually?
Yes, you're picking Bob Carrington.
That's my favorite player in the draft. That is amazing.
I like him too.
That is actually a sleeper pick, if you want me to be real, because he has all the potential to be a star. I think he's one of those guys that has a star potential. It's just a matter of, does it come to fruition? He's more of a project and developmental guy. Yeah. But if we're drafting point guard, this is awesome.
Yeah, and I guess you could say the guard room isn't necessarily safe. So it stinks. So it's like, draft a guard. I guess you could say, Bilal 2 or 3, right? And then, you got Sarr as your big, and then kind of see where you go from there. Because that's a guy that I think we both like. Neither of us had him as a lottery pick, if I'm not mistaken. I think I had him at 20.
I couldn't. I think it was just the questions on defense and him declaring very early. But this is amazing because I think he's elite, bro. Like, we know what he can do.
Yeah, 6'4", 200, about only 18. And he's a very good scorer, right? Like, especially in terms of the skill, right? Because he can pull up, he can create off the dribble, which are things that you don't normally see as polished in somebody who's 18. So the offense is really good. Obviously, 3-point, right, could be better. But, again, he's got all of the really good scoring skills. So you feel like that should be able to, the shooting should be able to translate into, if he can make those type of shots, there's no reason why he shouldn't be a better 3-point shooter. He shot 32% with Pittsburgh. 4 assists. So like you said, could also potentially be one of those combo guard type guys. So possibly better version of Jordan Poole, maybe.
Bro,
maybe not necessarily as a rookie, but.
And here's the thing, our coach, Brian Keefe, he's known for his player development, and that's kind of what the highlight of his career. So I'm really hoping for a lot of good things from these young guys and rookies. And if they see something in him, I completely agree. Because like I said, this is my favorite player in the whole entire draft. I just couldn't mock him high because I just thought that there were too many questions. But if the Wizards are taking a flyer here, because this is a huge jump, I had him mocked in the 20s. I had him going to Milwaukee. A lot of people had him going lower than that.
I had him at 20. So I guess what I would also ask you is, so obviously now you traded Denny Avdia, basically, to get, well, not that's the only thing, but you traded him and you picked up Bub Carrington. So do you feel good about I'm good with trading Denny since we picked up Bub Carrington, and then now we can see what we do with Brogdon in terms of moving him.
Yes.
What do you do with the So and that's good. Where and that's why we needed to wait to see what the Wizards were going to do, with their pick, because, now you got 2 guys that, project to have, high upside.
Yeah, these are both potential guys where it's their potential is through the roof. Immediate impact, we're not looking for that. Look at where we were in the standings. We're looking for longevity and building a core team that can actually win some games down the line. And I think, their development is going to be our priority alongside Bilal. Keep that in mind. Yeah. I'm not saying it's an elite big 3 or anything, but I think it's a young, promising team that has some good vets around it too. Now we just need to acquire more bad contracts and more picks for the future. This is a W move, A+.
I agree. So now we're moving into the 15th pick, right? That's the Miami Heat, correct?
Yes, sir.
So we both had Isaiah Collier mocked there. Obviously, the board is completely changed, right? So there are other guys that are available, right? Dalton Knecht is still there, as well as some others. But, do you think that they end up taking him, or do you think that they still go for probably a smaller, guard type? I mean, Collier is not small, but more like a guard as opposed to Knecht, who's more like a wingish type guy.
I'm going Collier, bro. I like the guy's game. I know, the Heat guys, they're not too crazy on him, but I think he's good. Especially to the point where it's something that it addresses their need. And I think in the Heat system, in Heat culture, he can for sure be shaped into a guy that is a immediate impact kind of guy and could easily be a systematic role player for them down the line. And, you know, I might even say now borderline star, you know, potentially. I think he has the star potential. That's what we saw coming out of high school, going into USC. But USC was a dumpster fire in itself. So that's another issue. But I think he could be, you know, an elite point guard for Miami.
Yeah, we both had him mocked at 15. So the good news is that now, you know, maybe the draft board won't be quite as, you know, mucked up, you know, considering you know, now we're going to be more into like, okay, you know, these guys are, you know, more available now than before, right? Cuz say like, you know, the guys that we thought were going later got picked earlier, but now now it's going to be a little bit more, you know, of a reset. So now, you know, hopefully our boards aren't too far off, but you know, we want more surprises because
those surprises
for better content. Those surprises in the top 10, I am not kidding, literally just threw us for a loop. I mean,
I'm recovering still.
Obviously you'll see, you know, if you're not watching right now, you'll be able to see the VOD after we're done. But those were insane. Like, I mean, but you know, going back, it's the Miami Heat, right? So we'll see who they pick. Again, like you said, I think they've got a good track record of picking guys. So, you know, we both think it should be Collier, but, you know, they might surprise us and take somebody else. So
yeah, because I'm sure there's people on their radar that aren't on ours, you know, and that's kind of what this team is known for. So, like Collier is probably best fit from our eyes, but who knows? It could be like a Keyshawn George, and this guy breaks out and averages like 15. You know, that wouldn't surprise me. There's a lot of guys here left that fit Heat culture. Like it wouldn't surprise me if they even go like Kello Ware, just get a straight up backup big man. If they get a backup big, that would be interesting. You know, address that potential issue, or you know, just go Collier. Be smart. You know, I'm very curious. They have a lot of flexibility, and like you said, you know, they're not going to miss on it. Watch them just pick the dumbest pick ever as soon as I say that, but I doubt it. I don't expect that from them.
At never mind. I'm not gonna say anything. Not gonna say anything because you said don't
say it. Say it.
So Jake Fisher is saying that he thinks it's gonna be Jared McCain from Duke. So we'll see what happens. If it does, our board is going to be completely cooked for the most part.
If that happens, that's crazy. But it's funny because I had Jared McCain going 14.
Yeah,
so he's going one later.
I want to say I had him at 18. I think I had him going to Orlando.
Oh my God, Jared McCain and Jimmy Butler. Oh my God, that is so funny.
Yeah, that's
no
a funny
way,
thing.
bro. I need this to be real. We're gonna get a peak reaction from Trent. This is gonna be hilarious, bro.
Right. Like, I really hope Jake Fisher is right. Well,
I can't wait for we got to give the floor to Trent once this pick comes in. I'm going to be laughing, bro. If it's Jared McCain, I'm done.
We were just talking about him. I mean, we were literally just talking about him, like 5-10 minutes ago, you know, talking about like, you know, who do we think they're going to pick? You know, we both have Collier, but he doesn't want McCain.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have him going a little bit lower. Like I said, 18 to Orlando. So, you know, we'll see, but no, Miami's taking Kello Ware.
I told you. I knew that was their other option. They were gonna get the backup big, and that's what they need. That's what they need. This is a good move.
So they didn't go for the guard. They went for another big, and it's a big that's got some skill sets to him, right? Because he can shoot.
Yeah.
He can protect the rim. He's got size. He's got, you know, long arms. So there's a lot to really like about his game. I think that was the guy that had the motor questions. But, you know, that was the guy that had the motor questions. But for Miami, you know, you're not going to be able to last there if you have a low motor. So, you know, I think that organization will get the best out of him.
Great pick.
So, yeah, I'm glad that, you know, so unfortunately our guy Jake Fisher was wrong.
Yeah, all right. Now he's banished. He's excommunicated from the off-ball take stream.
But it's funny because I had him at 17. So I had him, you know, so I thought he would get picked higher than what some people had expected.
I had him 25.
Yeah, I thought he'd be higher just because of the fact that I think, given that a lot of people really want, are looking for these type of bigs, the fact that he can do a lot of this stuff, I think that's a big get for Miami. And that's another guy you can have either next to Bam or, coming off the bench, behind Bam, right?
100%.
Because he can shoot.
Yeah.
So, I think, like you said, I'm glad that they didn't just go for, what we expected. Because I think, again, I don't think this is like a horrible L pick where it's like, oh man, you should have taken, like, because I wasn't expecting this. So it's like, but it's the type of, I didn't expect it where I still think it's good. It's not like the Spurs where it's like I didn't expect it and I absolutely hate it. It's one where I think this is really good for the Heat. Because again, like you said, they needed another big. And yeah, you didn't get a guard, but you might be able to find some type of backup scoring guard in free agency, maybe. But, and obviously you can't get everything you want, like in the draft, right? So it's like you're going to have to pick one thing and prioritize it, and then, choose something else. But after that, I mean, now we're at 16. So that's Philly, right? Now we both had Tristan da Silva going there. So we'll see if he actually does go there. We talked about Philadelphia, right? Obviously, I think the most pressing, position of need is probably the forward spot, right? We're assuming Oubre will go back and return to Philly, but they'll probably, Tobias Harris is probably gone. And then after that, the wing depth is, I mean, I guess they had Covington, but he was hurt. So, who knows what to expect from him. Batum, he comes back. Maybe he comes back, but he's also older. So I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a guy like Tristan da Silva. Obviously, we don't know if that's what's going to happen, but, wing makes sense. Obviously, I guess he's more of a 4, really, than a 3. But, I mean, you had Tobias Harris at the 4. So it's like, we'll see. But, yeah, this is not gone at all what I would have thought. So
heck no, man. Crazy. This is wild. Like, legitimately.
Yeah. So I guess, what pick do we like the most so far? Obviously, like, I know a lot has happened, but, just kind of going back, I mean, who do you like the most so far? Like in terms of who went where?
I mean, there's a lot that I like. There's a lot that I don't like too. But the ones that I do mainly like would be obviously Cody Williams. I think that's an awesome pick for Utah.
Yep.
Obviously Minnesota pulling off that immaculate trade somehow from their perspective. Rob Dillingham, I think that's an A as well, A+. I would also say, it's tough. I would also say probably I like what the Wizards did. If you want me to be honest, I would give them an A as well, because you got your center of the future, and you got a potential point guard of the future as well. So the Wizards kind of did what the Spurs I think we're supposed to do in terms of getting two guys and moving the chains a little bit.
What about
I agree
you? With that. I mean, I agree with that. Like you said, Cody Williams, like that. Castle, like that. But again, we kind of expected that.
Yeah.
I just, Bucelis at 11 is interesting. Like I said, it wouldn't have been what I would have expected because I thought he was going to go earlier. But, and then like you said, I like the Wizards picks a lot. And I like what Miami did. Like, the only one that I really, just don't really love is I just don't like the Spurs just giving away the number 8 pick.
Agreed.
I don't really like that. Topic is, we don't know. It's like, I can't really say, we won't even see him play at all this year. So I can't really say anything until next year. And then after that, I mean, the Edey one I think is a good fit, but at the same time, it's such a question mark. But
I know it's going to be fun to talk about.
Salon. I mean, going to Charlotte, I feel like is interesting. Just from the perspective of like, it's a do-it-all versatile wing. But we'll have to see what he actually looks like on an NBA court.
Yeah, I'd give it like a C or a B for now.
Yeah, so,
I like the Ron Holland thing, too. I think that's a great gamble.
I do, too. Yeah, I think that was the one where it's like, because that was the one that started us on this, insane journey.
Yep.
But I liked it.
Yep, and we've been spiraling ever since.
Yeah.
We've been spiraling out of control.
Honestly, and I'm not trying to say anything bad, because obviously these people get paid a lot of money to do what they do. I almost just wonder if, like, people just didn't know what to do with this draft. Like
That's
not in a
interesting.
bad way, but it just it's just because it's just like so much has happened that it just was so unexpected. I guess some of it was just like the deals that were available. Like obviously if you're Minnesota, how could you pass that up? It's just like who thought that would be an actual thing that could have happened?
Who made the call? Like, I want to know how this interaction went down. Was it Minnesota that approached San Antonio, or was it San Antonio that approached Minnesota? Obviously, I think the answer is Minnesota approached San Antonio, and San Antonio just got fleeced, robbed blindly. Like, this is legal bank robbery at this point, and I just don't know how they got finessed into this situation. There has to be something that's missing, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just crazy.
It's not even equal value.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't even know what to say. Just, I'm sorry, Jake Fisher, as well. I mean, because he's had a rough night, where it's just like, so many of the picks just haven't worked. But who the heck is next? I mean,
so what? It's Philly, right?
Yeah, it's Philly. Because, I mean, we both have Tristan da Silva mocked there, but it's like, I'm ready for anything. Like,
it wouldn't surprise me if Jared McCain goes there, Jacoby Walter.
Or what if they took Necht, or like just anybody? I mean,
yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I'm trying to think of who else is on the board. You got Deron Holmes. I don't think he really fits their timeline though. Johnny Furphy, that could be another one. Keyshawn George. I don't think they go Tyler Kolek. I think we all think this guy is locked in for the Suns, and then you've got Ryan Dunn. I don't know.
Yeah,
this is interesting.
Yeah, I brought Trent back in. He showed up.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the Miami pick?
He said LFGG, so I'm going to assume he likes the pick just as much as we do.
Okay, yeah, it's an A+ pick.
Yeah, so I had to make a video, how to get that out first. But me and my guys been talking about this for a long, long time because Miami Heat need size, right? And I don't know if he's a starter. I don't know if he's going to be a backup big. I don't know what it is. But either way, we don't have to rely on Kevin Love being our backup big. We don't got to rely on fucking, what's his name? No more Cody Zeller. No more Dwayne Dedman. No more Orlando Robinson. And Thomas Bryant. I think he will be back, but that just means we have more size. Kel'el Ware is also, he could space the floor out. And that's what I like. The double-double machine who can space out the floor, 7 feet. Rim protection. I mean, I absolutely love this pick. And you literally just said it before. Miami doesn't miss on their picks. They usually don't. So a center that's shooting 42% last year, and 2 years ago he shot 27%.
Yep.
So I know the draft just happened. The Sixers just took McCain, and we can go on that. That's solid too.
Yeah. So that's another guard. So that's not at all what we expected for Philly. We had them taking Tristan da Silva, so I guess he's going to continue to fall. But it's not really a problem for Philly, right? It's a guard that can shoot. Which again, that's pretty helpful. But it's funny because, like I said, I had Ware like right outside of the lottery. So like I know some people had him lower, but I had him like in the teens, like in between like 15 to 18. So
yeah, I had him going 25, and that's not a knock on him. He's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought that there was so much like that people were saying about him that I was just like, there's no way this guy drops as low as some people think. Because I'm like Trent said, right? He's a big that shoots well from 3 and has some great physicals, and can protect the rim. So like, there's a lot to like. I just feel like that would be hard for. I would be very surprised if like 25 teams, passed up on that. But I've been wrong before. But that one. So next up, well, I guess we'll talk about the Philly one. Go on.
Yeah, so let me ask you a question real quick, right? Do you think, man? So I don't think it's gonna happen soon, but I do think, right? Do you think there's a chance that Ware plays the 5 and Bam goes back to the 4 just to be a bigger team?
Down the line, yeah.
Yeah, I think down the line. I think that for now it'll probably just be certain lineups. Like I don't think he's gonna start at the 5 and then they put Bam at the 4. Like they may try to experiment with some lineups. This year, but I don't think it'll happen this year is what I'm saying. Like I with Miami, obviously they have a lot of flexibility and versatility in the types of lineups they like to put out there. So, Spoelstra, he likes to try a lot of stuff, which is good. So I think they'll play together. And I think with Bam, like he was taking more threes this year. So, what if his 3-point shot continues to expand as well? Then you might have, two bigs that can kind of space the floor a little bit. I don't know how good of a 3-point shooter he'll actually be, but him expanding his game on offense, is a good sign. That makes it easier to put him at the 4. But then if you have Ware at the 5, then that can also be cool. So
now, okay, cool. So now going to the Philly pick, right?
Yep.
McCain.
Didn't expect it.
Yeah. Well, now Philly has more shooting, right? So
Yep.
does that? So my question is to you, right? What is Buddy Hield staying? Is he leaving? Like, what do you think? Where's Buddy going now?
I think he's expendable just because, I don't think he'll get a ton of money. Maybe he could come back, but he probably doesn't come back for more than I don't know, 5-ish million, because they have a ton of cap space. So it kind of just depends on do they strike out on who they want? Let's say they don't get Paul George, because some people don't think he'll go there. So if they don't get him, then maybe they'll just overpay some other guys to bring in. But I don't know. I guess McCain is a smaller guard, so I don't really know if picking him means that you don't have to bring back Buddy Hield, but it's 50-50 because he was okay for Philly, but I feel like he kind of just fizzled out at the end. I know he had the good game 6 against the Knicks, but I don't know if he showed a ton where it's we have to bring this guy back for sure. But if he doesn't come back, then like you said, you have a guy in McCain who can shoot. So, and then next up is the Lakers, right? So they are at 17. So who's available? I guess if you look at the board, there's still some guys that we thought would go a little bit earlier. I'm sure the pick will be coming in pretty soon because it's the Philly pick happened a few minutes ago. So still have Dalton Knecht. Yeah, you still have Dalton Knecht. You still have Collier. You still have Tristan Da Silva. But I guess the question is, who do they actually pick? So, because that would be my question, because I thought they should get a big. Obviously, I feel like it may be a reach now, to get one of those other ones, because I just feel like those guys are going to go later. So, now
for bigs, you got Filipowski, Eves, Missy.
Right, but I think he'll go much later. I don't think he goes,
Yeah, I have them at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Eves, Missy. I feel like he should probably go a little bit. I don't know. I feel like he should probably go a little bit later.
I have him 28.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the problem, because now if Ware's off the board, I feel like that's the center you probably would have wanted. So now you probably have to pivot and either go for, a guard or a wing. I guess we think that Knecht might be the best player available, but he's also dropped a lot.
Bro, I don't think he's the best. I think it's...
Well, no, I'm not.
I would, if I were you guys, I would pick DaRon Holmes, if you want me to be real. I think that's a potential guy. Yeah, take DaRon Holmes. If you don't take him, maybe I don't even know, bro. Who do you have left? You have Tyler Kolek. You have Ryan Dunn.
Exactly.
It's I don't know, bro. I think your only option at this point really is DaRon Holmes, bro.
Yeah, I guess it's just interesting because Knecht has fallen significantly because we had him as a top 10 pick. And it's 17 or 16 picks have gone by. He's still on the board. So he's going to fall to somebody. Who knows where? Maybe he falls now or maybe he falls after that. But like I said, I want a big. And Ware was the guy that I wanted. But, of course, he goes one pick earlier, which was even earlier than I had him. So
this is what's going to happen. Bronny's coming home, baby.
Oh, my God.
Bronny's coming home, baby.
At 17?
I don't think he gets picked at 17, though.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my God.
But, listen.
If that happens, it's over. The NBA's over.
Yeah. You just blow it up right then and there.
Yeah. So we're still waiting on the pick. Like I said, it's going to be coming in, I think, within the next couple, because, again, it's 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're at 3 minutes. They're at 3 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be coming within, the next few minutes.
Pick is in now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's Dalton Knecht. Okay. So, in other words, he fell.
I don't like it. If you want me to be honest, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. I like Knecht as a player, but I don't like it for the Lakers.
It's so unexpected because I guess the question, because he's what? He's 6'5".
Yeah, this is another Austin, bro. This is another Austin.
Yeah, but it's do you really need another one?
No.
It's because I personally think, like I said, I think they should have gotten a big, because I would have preferred, somebody who can get you some rebounds, somebody who can get you, some block shots, run the floor. it's not the worst pick I think that you could make. It's just like it's not what I would have expected because it's another guard wing. It's like another 2-3 guy. I guess he can shoot, so that's nice. And I guess, compared to some of the other guys, he's supposedly supposed to be a little bit more ready. So that's nice, I guess. But I don't know. Like I said, there's way I'd rather that than I don't know, like one of the other smaller guards. Like if you have to pick a guard, I don't really want another small guard. But they have so many guards already, so it's like
that's why I don't understand. Deron Holmes is right there.
Right.
My question is, why did he fall? Right.
Right. Exactly.
So,
and
probably age.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, it's probably age. I think I agree with him.
Okay. So because like I always wonder, right? If you're falling for a reason. It's not just because you're falling because you're not good. You're falling for a specific reason. So, that's my big question. And then just being with the Lakers, JJ Redick wants to work with the young guys. He wants that. So we'll see what happens with this dude. But I agree. Like we about to have Austin Reeves 2.0 at this point. Like
right.
Like this guy's a 5-year college player. Like his offense is elite, no questions. But the defense isn't there. Number one, and number two, he's very one-dimensional.
Right, and that's and again, like I guess if you're the Lakers, you might look at it from the perspective of they need more 3-point shooting, from anybody, right? Like I know they shot well from 3, but they didn't take a lot of 3, so that's a little bit different, compared to a team that makes a lot and takes a lot, like say Boston. So it's unexpected, but I think like he said, when a guy falls, it's usually for a reason. Because like you said, I think his age is probably a factor. Because like, say, Cam Whitmore, why did he fall, right? Last year, it wasn't because of his age. It's not like he was old. But there were health concerns, right? There were concerns about his medicals, right? So he did, and obviously he's still pretty good. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, I personally would have preferred a big. But I understand, from the perspective of if you want to get a guy that you think is more quote unquote ready, that has some type of skill set that will transfer right now, I understand it. Like it wouldn't have been what I would have done, but I understand it.
I had him going to OKC. Like I had him going top 12. It's not that I'm low on the guy. It's just for the Lakers, I don't like it because I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. Like you said, I think their biggest hole was big man, and they failed to, fill that thing. So it's tough.
And I would say if you were gonna get a guard, like a bigger guard wing, then I would have preferred somebody that's a little bit more like two-way-ish type, not necessarily somebody that's just like a specialist. Because say like last year on their roster, they had a lot of specialists, right? It was either guys that were more so scorers but didn't really defend, or guys that defended and didn't really score. But also they didn't really even have many of those. It was more so just offensive oriented guys. So more offense.
I would have gone with Kaishan George, really. If you were gonna go guard, I would have gone with him just because his frame, 6'7", and he can shoot the heck out of the ball, and he's a good defender. Like you said, two-way. Like that would be more kind of, I think, in line with their identity. This one is just, it's interesting. I would give it like a C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess, like I said, if he's a shooter scorer, then he better be able to do that right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So it's like, if he does that, then I'm not going to complain at all. But like, if there's like a learning curve, then what else is he going to bring to the table? So if he can score and shoot, I'm not really going to, complain. Because then it's like, well, then you got basically your instant offense guy off the bench, in the draft. But, again,
Orlando just picked Tristan da Silva.
Okay.
It's a good pick.
Solid pick, right? They do have a lot of forwards. So, I'm curious where he fits into the rotation. I mean, at this point, what guard would you have wanted if you were Orlando? Because like I had McCain going there. I guess maybe Collier, but like I would have, if I'm Orlando, I'd prefer a guard that could shoot. So, and that's Collier, maybe he shoots well down the line, but we don't know. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I had what's up? He got drafted.
Who?
Collier, right?
No, Collier is continuing to fall.
Yep.
I think there's questions about his defense, offense, even health, weight, everything. So, he could turn out to be one of the better players in the draft. But yeah, he's falling far. But I would have picked Jacoby Walter if I was Orlando here. Get a nice, good 2-guard, offensive oriented, But it is what it is. I think Tristan da Silva is a great pick as well because he's NBA ready. Can do some things with the ball, but at the end of the day, I think he's going to be an immediate impact player, and he's better than Jet Howard, so that's all that matters.
What was that pick?
Yeah, Jet Howard was a stupid pick. I'm not gonna lie.
I remember when we reacted to that in real time, and neither of us liked it.
No, that was worst pick. that was so bad.
I mean, you can even. How do you feel about Anthony Black though? Right? Like, is he going to be inserted into the season next year? Like,
I don't know. I mean,
I hope he should.
I would hope so, considering they drafted him in the top 10. I mean, like, if you're gonna draft a guy in the top 10, that needs to be a guy that can play next season. So, especially if they lose out on, like, let's say they don't get anybody, like, say they don't get Clay or Paul George or, anyone else who would even be left at this point, you would have to hope that he would be playable, in my opinion. If he can't play, that's a major problem. Because
then both of your picks that year were just turned into complete mush, bro. Like, that. What was the point of that draft at that point?
Unlike what is it? Jet Howard, like, most people thought that the Black pick was a good pick.
Yeah, he had an amazing summer league, started the season off okay, and it showed a lot of defensive promise. It's just, I don't know what happened. He fell out of the rotation. Right. But to be fair, they did start competing a lot more. So I guess it's kind of like a similar situation as like Jarace Walker, where it's like, the guy might not just be ready yet. I don't know. But like you said, he needs to be ready. Because he could help, if he's ready like that. I think that's a huge, not like franchise changing moment, but for sure a step in the right direction.
Yeah. So the next pick up is, let's see. So in terms of the next pick is the Cavs. So obviously that's Toronto. Wait, no, hold up. We're at 18. Yeah. So now we're at 19. So it's the Raptors. Okay. So they didn't have their 8th pick, right? That went to the Spurs, who decided to give it to Minnesota. Not going to rehash that. That we'll save that for another time. But if you're the Raptors, what do you need? What are you looking at, right? Because, obviously they re-signed Scotty Barnes, right? No problems with that because you drafted him. He's very good, and you needed to keep him, right? They got Jakob Poeltl, right? Obviously, Pascal and OG are gone. Right? And then you have Quickly and RJ Barrett. So do you go guard, but maybe more of a secondary guard, maybe to compete against Grady Dick? Or do you go, at center and see if, they can challenge Poeltl for minutes?
I'm going Kaishan George here. I think you need somebody who's OG Anunoby-esque. If you want to compete again. And that's kind of my guy, 6'7", 209. I already talked about him in our mock, even talked about him previously with the Lakers. The counting stats aren't amazing, but the potential is there. And I think, if you're on, Toronto, when you're in a rebuilding stage, I think his size, his ability to shoot the basketball, and his defensive potential as well is awesome, because I think he could be, your pinnacle two-way piece.
Yeah. It's funny because on my board, for 19, I had Jacoby Walter, even though, obviously there's some other guys that are on the board, that he'll probably go later. But
yeah, I had him around that area too, though. I had him going to 18, so we're on the same page. Okay. I agree.
Yeah. So, we'll see. But yeah, I think like you said, Kaishan George, I think that makes sense, considering where they are. So.
Yeah, I just don't see that. I don't know. I understand Jacoby Walter being drafted in this range, but for Toronto, I don't know. I just feel like they already have better versions of him, if that makes sense, in IQ. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. By the way, also just kind of to just let everybody know, obviously, in case you didn't know, right, the first round is just tonight, right? The second round is tomorrow. So obviously once we get to, pick 30, that's the end of the first round, and that'll probably be the end of the stream. And then obviously round 2 is tomorrow, not at 7 p.m. It's at 4 p.m.
Yes, sir.
So obviously just letting everybody know that, just so that way you're not expecting, stuff to go all the way until 1 a.m. and there's a spider here. So that's cool.
Oh, God, not this again.
Yep. So, that's the thing. It's happening. So, Toronto, we'll see. Like I said, they've already had a ton of upheaval. So, I think they're, obviously they're going into rebuild mode.
Yeah. Toronto's interesting. Now we're kind of in the lull where it's like, not that these picks don't matter, but it's kind of like the teams that probably aren't going to be relevant for the next couple of years, potentially. But, this is kind of the lull. Like, and it's not all the teams. It's really just the Raptors, because a lot of them are contenders at the bottom. Like, you've got Denver, but it's really just Toronto, if you want me to be honest. And we're waiting for it. I don't know what they do here. Like I said, I would go with Kaishan George. There are other options. You have Johnny Furphy, Deron Holmes, Kolek. You have Ryan Dunn even. So I think there are options for them, but best fit, I would go Kaishan George. Young guy, true freshman as well. So, a real one and done. So I think this would be amazing if they could pull that off. That would be an instant like B+.
Right. Also, just for reference, by the way, I don't know if we're going to see as many more trades now, because now, most of these teams are probably going to, we got it, Jacoby Walter. Walter. So,
okay.
So that was my pick.
Okay.
So he actually ended up going there.
That's interesting.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, so I guess, obviously that wasn't the guy that you expected, but, what do you think of the pick from Toronto's perspective?
I mean, like I said, like Jacoby Walter, he's good on offense.
Right.
He's got it's the quick trigger. He's got that, but it's like, didn't you already have that in IQ? That's why I would have gone with a more defensive, taller guy, even because, like I said, Kaishan George 6'7", but maybe it's just because the counting stats aren't eye popping from him. But Jacoby Walter, on the other hand, counting stats are awesome. 14.5 points per game, 34% from the 3-point line. And he's only 19, so he's still a young guy. Obviously, it's not like you're drafting like a junior or senior or anything like that. So this should be fun.
Right, exactly.
Let me ask you
What's
a
up?
question, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, we're at pick 19. We're getting near, not say the end, but kind of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which y'all winners? Like, do you have a winner right now? Losers? And I know there's still 11 picks or whatever the case is, but like, is there a favorite right now that you're like, oof, I like what they're doing?
For me, Wizards, but that's completely biased. Yeah, for me, it would go Wizards though.
I mean, that's fair enough though, right? You had 2 picks. You got the number 1 overall pick, Sar.
Yeah.
Right. He just went to 2.
Yep.
Then you got your guy at 14, and then you possibly can still get some more draft capital after Brogdon. So maybe you're right.
And we have 26 too, so it's not like we're done.
Yeah.
We do have the next pick in terms of 26. So
right.
That's how I feel.
So,
but it is a weak draft, so I don't know if you want to consider them a winner because of the quality of the draft potentially. But I don't know. What's up?
I would add Minnesota. Yeah, and then I would add Minnesota
100%.
because they weren't even supposed to be in that situation, and they were able to get a rotational player that they shouldn't have gotten, for basically nothing. Right? They gave up picks, and got back a player. Because as we've talked about, right, Minnesota is in that second apron, or gonna be in that second apron, so their flexibility to bring in, better talent is very low. So to be able to do that in the draft, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I'll say for me, I'm gonna be biased just like Yarby. We going Miami.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
I love it because we needed a big. We got a big.
Yeah.
So I'll just be biased now. Thank God. What the Lakers? You didn't choose the Lakers because F the Lakers. All right. We don't mess with the Lakers over here.
Dude, I don't know. The Lakers. There's not much they could have done though. Like their hands are pretty much tied from the jump. Like
raise the pick.
Like yeah, they should have traded the pick away. I think.
Yeah, but then I guess you have to look at it and like, not many teams did.
Yeah, you're right. The only only ones that did were what? Portland and San Antonio.
Yeah, one of the teams that traded it was a team that I would have thought would have wanted to use it.
Yeah,
like
it's interesting.
Well, I'll say this: like when y'all watch the drafts, like there's not much draft trades like instead like going like number 1 to like 5 or something. Like I don't see much trades. Like I see like minor trades, but like
yeah,
I don't really
like normally, like normally you see like players on teams that are like getting traded back and forth. You don't usually always see like you said the number 1 pick gets traded down. They trade down to 3 or 4 or something like that. It's usually like people talked about like Cam Johnson or Dorian Finney-Smith, for Brooklyn. Could those guys be moved today? And that hasn't happened at all yet. So
yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the number 8 pick, I wasn't here for that, but I know you was upset because why the fuck are the Spurs doing that?
Yeah, made no sense.
We didn't understand it just because we thought, hey, this is their backcourt, where it's like you have a really athletic, bigger guard that can defend, right? That can act as a secondary guy that can play next to Wemby, right? Then you have a scoring guard that can shoot. Even though he's smaller, you would think he could be protected defensively by guys like Castle or Vassell or Wemby. And then they just trade him. But it's not like they traded him for a player. They traded him for future picks like 6-7 years from now, where it's like, I don't even know what anything will look like by then, right? Like the world could be gone by then. Like who knows?
Yeah,
like
he's not wrong.
Yeah, like I don't know. Just kind of weird.
Yeah, I think the biggest winner of this draft might be Rob Dillingham himself, because he gets put on a contender that fits him exactly the way that it seems like almost like the team is built around him. Obviously it's not. It's built around Ant-Man, but he's a perfect seamless fit, and he can hide on defense in that lineup because there's no point in him really even trying to defend. But it's awesome because he's going to shine, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So next up, right, number 20, right? So that is the Cavs. Right,
this is an interesting.
What are
pick.
they gonna do? Because I had Carrington there, but he's long gone.
Yeah,
so
that would have been your Darius Garland insurance, but I'm going Johnny Furphy, bro. That's who I had mocked there. 9 points, 5 rebounds. Counting stats aren't amazing, but I think it's more so the potential. And Cleveland doesn't really have anybody like him, and I think he could easily be Georges Niang's replacement because I don't know how this guy is still on a roster.
Some type of wing help. Some type of wing forward help would be nice.
Yeah.
Here we go. What the? Cleveland has Jalen Tyson at top of board.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't even have that guy mocked in my first round. I had him in the second round.
I didn't have him in the first round at all.
Yeah, I had him.
Yo, so don't you think you just take best available at this point? Like, what are we like?
Yeah, that's who they're picking. Cleveland's taking Jalen Tyson at number 20. I didn't have him in the first round at all. I'm going to need you to explain more of his game to me because, just go ahead.
It's okay, bro. Like, it's nothing special.
Yeah, New Orleans is taking Yves Missy, by the way.
Okay.
Jonas is gone. Jonas will be gone now.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not going to lie. His counting stats are pretty tough. Like, almost 20 points per game. The problem is he went to Cal, and it's like, Cal isn't the best basketball program. Like, they're not known for hoops and stuff. So his counting stats are pretty awesome. Saw a bit of a decrease in terms of, the percentages and the efficiency, but I don't think that's like anything crazy. He's 6'6", 215. I just didn't expect him to be a first rounder. I thought he was going to be a second rounder. And he's also a little bit older too. So he's a senior on that kind of realm. So that's why I had him in the second round, just because he's young, but he's not, the youngest. He's not like a real rookie, in my opinion. I think he's more of not necessarily even like the Jaquez kind of like talent level, but I would say like the Jaquez prototype. So, kind of just think of him like that, honestly. He can rebound, so I think it's a solid pick, but a bit of an overdraft for me.
Yeah, and then Yves Missy, I had him mocked at New Orleans. I just think I figured they were going to take a center. We know Valanciunas is probably gone. And then the only other big after that, I think, is Larry Nance Jr. So, I think this is kind of a no-brainer one, right? He can rebound, catch lobs, block shots.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's still a very raw offensive player. Can't shoot at all. So putting him next to Zion, that'll be kind of intriguing. But but New Orleans, we feel like is probably going to make some changes in the offseason beyond just Valanciunas anyways. So, the shape of their roster could look really different anyways, and then the fit may not look as weird.
Yeah, that's why I had DaRon Holmes going here, which is kind of interesting because he's kind of the inverse of Yves Missy, where it's like the guy can score, can rebound, block shots, and he can also stretch the floor. But the difference is the size difference is kind of wild. Like, I think DaRon Holmes is like, 6'9", 6'10". Yves Missy's like, 7 feet, something like that. So, I think It makes sense. I think either of these picks would have been awesome. And we talked about that in our mock draft video. Like, either one of these guys would have been amazing. But it's just a matter of what they wanted to do. And clearly they picked Yves Missy. So, big hit, I think.
Yeah. So, next up, we got
Suns.
the Suns at 22. I think we both had Tyler Kolek, right?
Yep.
So, they don't have a point guard at all, pretty much. So they need a point guard. So you might as well draft him. Obviously, you got some concerns about his defense. But, he should be a good passer, playmaker. Should be able to fit well there. Of course, he may not go there. But feels like that's a need. That's a position of need. Anybody that could possibly run your offense for, even a little bit, I think would be pretty helpful. Again, of course, maybe it doesn't happen. But, I feel like, if you can get that either in the draft or free agency, that would be nice if you're Phoenix, But
Yeah.
of course, lots of wild rumors going on about Phoenix right now anyway. So
Yeah. Is there still buzz about Bronny going for this pick?
yeah, that was the other, I mean, again, we just saw Cleveland take somebody that I don't think.
Yeah, I think Bronny might be going here, dude.
Yeah. But I guess some people think the ploy might be take him. Maybe we get LeBron, but he would have to basically take a minimum.
It's not happening at this point.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. So I feel like that's almost kind of like a misdirection. I mean, they're both point guards, I guess, technically, but I think the one that would make probably a little bit more sense, just because he's probably a little bit more ready, would be Kolek.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
This is an interesting pick though. But we had both, picked Tyler Collette because I think it's personally a lock. But I know this is the one pick that's had all this buzz and rumors around, and I'm like, why does a 22nd pick have so many rumors around it? I was like, oh, it's a Bronny. So this should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we've got Milwaukee, New York, Washington, and then Minnesota.
Yeah, they have a first.
Oh yeah, that's the guy. I'm curious to see if Terrence Shannon Jr. goes in the first round at all. Right. That's the guy who I kind of have on my radar next. That's best available in my opinion.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because, again, these are, like you said, once you get to this lower part, right, these would be some of the teams where it's like they're not really lottery teams. So, you're not quite as like, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you're not as, like, dependent on these guys panning out right away. You're kind of just hoping at worst that they're, like, maybe guys that could give you some rotational minutes.
Yeah.
Like maybe, regular season worst case. Right, it's not like the top of the draft where those are the teams that aren't as good. So you're you kind of hoping and praying that those guys actually really really pan out, and they're good right away.
Yeah, like I'm looking at Denver in this area. I would be looking at New York and Denver. Those are kind of my two that are on my radar because Denver, they need some backup rotations. I think if Deron Holmes is there, take him. I think he could potentially give you some backup Aaron Gordon minutes where it's like, Aaron Gordon needs a break too alongside Jokic. So put him out there. New York, I think, is intriguing because they have back-to-back picks, one from the Dallas Mavericks. Kello Ware is no longer there, obviously. So I think they would go like Ryan Dunn, something like that. And I think Boston is kind of one to watch as well because, they are coming off the championship and the 30th pick could easily be a rotational guy considering the guys that are in this draft. Like, they're not picking a J.D. Davidson.
Yeah. And even if it wasn't, like, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so Kenny Atkinson, 5-year deal. Okay, I didn't expect to hear that at all today.
To where?
But to Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, that had already been reported that a few days ago that he was going to be the Cleveland coach. I just didn't really expect a report about his contract to come out in the middle of the draft, especially right after they drafted somebody that we didn't expect for them to draft. But so we're still waiting for Cleveland, or excuse me, we're still waiting for Phoenix, I guess. Right? They're on the board right at 21 or 22, excuse me. So we'll see. But I think, like I said, both you and I feel like they should probably go with the point guard. But they may surprise us, like several of these other teams have, because this has been like the most surprised I've been at a draft, just because of the fact that like a lot of, the first, like I said, the first part of it was what we thought was going to happen. After that, everything completely changed.
Yeah. Been wild, dude. And I'm getting burnt out because this is normally when,
Yeah.
We've been live for almost 3 hours, so appreciate everybody in the chat, man. Please, if you're new, please don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the OBT Podcast. We do, shorts, lives like this all the time, so be on the lookout for those.
Yeah, exactly. On the road to 100 subs.
Yes, sir. We're getting closer and closer each and every day.
Yep, we're at 78 last time I checked.
Yes, sir.
So, again, so now we're just kind of chilling, just kind of waiting for, that 22nd pick from Phoenix. Again, this is a team that, last year, right, had some expectations, and did not meet those expectations at all, right? They ended up going out in the first round. They got swept. They're in a rough spot because they don't have a lot of flexibility, right? They're still probably going to be able to win a lot of regular season games. It's just, the question is, are they going to be able to do anything to get up to that next level? Like I said, I don't know if this pick really is going to change a whole lot. It would obviously help, but, again, and it's funny because Phoenix, I think, historically, they've even said, we don't really value the draft at all. This is the first time I can remember in a little bit that they, actually drafted a guy and probably use him, right? Because I know they had the Kamara pick last year, but they traded him to Portland.
Forgot about that.
Nurkic, in the Nurkic-Ayton deal. So
yeah.
Other than that, what was the last time that they drafted somebody and actually used them?
Book.
Yeah, and there were guys after him that were drafted there, but they're gone. So.
Yeah, and that's my point. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But just anybody, if you're still around, let us know your thoughts about the draft in the chat. Obviously, I know the chat has gotten significantly more quiet because obviously, as you guys have already mentioned, right, we're in the home stretch of the first round, so this is kind of where I think most people kind of just tune out anyways, just because, people more so are interested in where the top picks will go. But there's still some guys that are available that I think, can help, these teams, right? Because again, like you said, these are the contenders, right? Or at least, teams with the better regular season records. So,
yeah. I'm very curious what the Suns do for this pick, legitimately, because there's been so much hype about it. So they piqued my interest.
Right. What? How would you act? I don't think they're gonna do it. How would you actually react if they took Bronny?
We end stream and we go make a video. I'm kidding. It would be crazy. Because I would understand the thought process, but if Kolek is right there, I feel like Kolek is gonna be better anyways. And that's not to say that Bronny's gonna be bad. I think that kind of speaks volumes to Kolek and how good I think he can be in that system because it's a position of need. They don't have a point guard. You need a true point guard, at least one of them. Phoenix is trading number 22 to Denver, which takes DeRon Holmes. I told you Denver was taking DeRon Holmes.
So Phoenix is trading that pick to the Nuggets, and then the Nuggets will take Holmes.
Yep.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, that's a very good pick for Denver because as you already laid out, because that was the guy you had Denver taking.
Yep.
Just a little bit later, right? That's the guy they wanted, right? So that's a big that can help, patch up some of the non-Jokic minutes, right? Obviously, we know the non-Jokic minutes have been kind of rough, right? In the playoffs, the year they won the title, they were able to survive for the most part. But last year, it didn't work out as well, right? The starters had to play a ton. So I think this is a really good pick, because, obviously he's on the smaller end, right? I guess he's 6'10", but, either way, again, hopefully if you're Denver, I think you got to hope that, he can kind of help right away. I mean, you had James Najee who didn't do anything. Welcome back, Homelander. He said, crazy day, to be honest. Legit might be the craziest draft day in years. Yeah, pretty wild. So according to, what people are saying, it sounds like it's going to be 3 seconds and number 28 for 22. So I guess Phoenix and Denver will trade places. So they'll trade down to 28, right?
Yeah, does that mean Bronny goes to Phoenix, bro?
Oh man,
is the writing on the walls now? I'm just asking.
Do you think that's going to happen though?
I'm just putting it out there because 28 is a lot closer to the second round than 22.
Right.
I think people wouldn't be as mad or up in arms if Bronny gets drafted number 28 versus 22, you know? So could the Phoenix Suns be trying to tell us something here, or are they just blowing smoke, up our what? So I don't know. This is interesting though. I like the move for Denver's perspective though.
Yeah, exactly, because they didn't have a backup center at all.
Absolutely not.
None. They were basically running Aaron Gordon at the 5.
Yep.
So I mean, just having anybody that can just come in and hopefully, be better than what they had, besides Aaron Gordon as the backup center, would be a massive win. I think.
Yeah. I'm feeling that pick.
Yeah, and
Feeling
again,
the move
it's a
too.
first
You
round-
give up the second rounds? Come on, man. That's chump change.
Yeah. And again, it's a first round pick, so it's another guy you get on a cheap contract for multiple seasons. And, worst case scenario, you can trade him later. Best case scenario, you probably aren't going to have to pay a ton, to keep him. So, but especially with this window right now, he costs nothing, very little. So,
Yep.
for a team that's in the second apron, it's a no-brainer.
Yep.
Especially, again, assuming they bring back KCP. Right, because
True.
obviously if they bring him back, then that roster is going to be even more expensive. But, again, like running the roster back, but adding like some additional, big man depth, is not really like a bad decision. Because, I mean, like they lost in Game 7 to Minnesota, which, obviously if you're Denver, that sucked. But, it's not like they're going to be, horrible, like significantly worse. Like they'll still be really good.
Yeah, agreed.
So
this is intriguing, man. I think everybody's on the edge of their seat.
yeah, because now we're moving on to the 23rd pick, right? So the 23rd pick is the Bucks, right? And obviously we know the Bucks were a team that we thought could be good, but we were much higher on Boston, I think, than we were on Milwaukee going into the year, right? Because more people were split on both teams earlier in the year. So to me. What does Milwaukee do here, right? Because, they don't have a lot of, I mean, they have some young guys, but Doc Rivers, doesn't really play younger guys like that anyways, but,
Nope.
They need defense. But, I guess the question, but the question is, which position do you go for? Do you go for a perimeter defense and take a guard? Do you go for wing defense and take a forward? Do you go for, interior defense and take a big? Like, where do you go? Like, I mean, Lopez, there's been rumors about him. So, does he get moved in the, like in the off season or something like that? Or do they keep him? So I don't know. Like Milwaukee could go some different ways here. I don't think they end up taking a big. My guess is they probably take, some type of wing, or guard guy, but what do you think here?
I had them taking Bub, but now I have them taking Ryan Dunn. I like Ryan Dunn's defense. That's pretty much all he brings to the table. 20% from the 3-point line, 8 points per game, but 7 rebounds, hard knocks defender. Like, I think, that kind of fits what they need for sure. Like a bona fide defender, kind of like another Andre Jackson, where it's like, okay, cool. Like this guy is going to be a nuisance. And that's what they need because their backcourt does not bother anybody on defense.
Yeah, I think I had Kaishan George going here.
That's another solid pick. I wouldn't be mad at either of those. Kaishan George, I think he has a lot more potential on the offensive end, a little bit more questions on the defensive end. But, Ryan Dunn is polished on the defensive end. Kaishan George has the potential on the offensive end.
What if the Suns they don't have a guard? What about Collier?
Yeah.
I forgot Collier is even on the board.
I forgot he still isn't
Oh my
He's still on the board. Holy moly.
He's low-key best available. That's weird, man. That's weird. There must be something we don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's insane because we thought he was going 15 and we're at 23 and he's still on the board. So I mean that's a good point. That's a good point, Trent. Yeah, because he's basically avoided like every team that we thought he would have a chance at going to. But I mean, does he go to the Bucks? Like, do the Bucks end up taking him? Like, I feel like they probably pass up on him as well.
The Suns could take him at 28. I swear to God, if the Wizards pick him at 26, I'm done. We win the draft. I'll take it.
The Celtics
he might fall. Yeah.
The Celtics going to take him.
Celtics are going to pick Isaiah Collier. I don't know if he falls to 30. You think he falls? Well, falling to what, 23? So
I was going to say, he's already fallen, like almost 10 picks more than we expected.
Crazy,
after
bro.
already falling even more, because that was another guy like like Bucelis and like Holland, that was a much, was regarded as a much higher pick, like when, those names were first announced.
He was top 5 at least.
Yeah, he was top 5.
But that season at USC screwed him over, though. That was a dumpster fire.
Hear me out, right? Peyton Pritchard got paid. I understand he got paid, but he was kind of like unplayable in the playoffs as the backup guard.
You think so?
I personally think so.
That was interesting.
Half-court threes.
I completely disagree. I think he was a pivotal part.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
We're talking specifically about the finals.
Just in general, I think him just being out there helps. Like,
I mean, I guess you can make the case that as the playoffs went on, like he wasn't playing as big of a role, but you also you don't get there necessarily if you didn't have him. I mean, I guess you can make the case that you don't really need him, but they also paid him and gave him an extension, so I don't think they really move off of him unless there's some.
I don't think they move him. But I mean, if you have if you have Collier at 30, there's no way you're just going to be like, oh, we're not going to take him because he got Pritchard.
Oh, they'll take him. They'll take him if he's there. But I don't think he's going to be there at 30. I think he's going somewhere else.
I think he is. Look who's coming up. You got Milwaukee. If you don't take them, you got Knicks back to back. They're going to look at. I don't know.
Yeah, they're going to look at bigs.
Yeah, they're looking at Ryan Dunn, I think, and somebody else.
Yeah. But Holmes is already gone, and that was the guy that we thought, maybe he goes to New York if he, because we didn't expect Denver to trade up.
Yeah.
So,
okay, now.
So what other bigs are left?
There's one from Cameroon or something like that. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's awesome.
Yeah. Is it the UCLA guy?
No, like he played for NBA Africa.
Okay.
The NBA Africa Academy or whatever I think is what it's called. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's a no. It's a promising prospect though. He's nice. He's really young though. That's one of the bigs. There are some bigs, but I don't know. I just wouldn't draft them in the first round if you want me to be honest.
Right. Yeah. So that's This has been nuts. If I'm gonna be honest. I mean, again, there's still stuff that's happened where I'm still at a loss of what we just saw, but I mean,
ooh, I'm
does
losing.
Bronny get picked before Collier?
If that happens, oh my god, because Collier started over Bronny.
I don't think it'll happen. I'm just saying, I think what was I gonna say? I think that Bronny will still be in the second round. I think Collier. He's got to go within the next few picks, right?
Bro, if he doesn't go first round, something is wrong. Seriously wrong. I don't know what it could be. Do you think it's health related? Do you think it's off the court?
I mean, he had what injury did he have? Was it an ankle injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, was that a serious enough injury where it would be a major turnoff? It's I don't know. It must just be that people just weren't as high on him. Maybe he had bad workouts. Maybe they didn't like his physicals.
I think it's the physicals, bro. I feel like it's the weight.
So Miami Heat zone. Martelli might have been right.
I think Martell was right.
So there you go.
What did he call him? Let me scroll back up in chat. I think he called him Big Back.
He called him. He called him. He called him. Let me go back and see.
Big Back Collier. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Bro, have the Bucks picked yet? No. 150, minute 50 on the clock.
No, we haven't seen. No, they haven't done it yet. Oh, here we go. AJ Johnson. So in other words, not who I expected.
Oh.
Wait, is that the guy you were? Is that the guy you were talking about? No, he's from Australia.
No.
Yeah, so it wasn't him. I think that's another guy I think I had in the second round. So
yeah, bro, that's interesting. I don't know how to feel about that. He's a guard, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, man. He's a very young guy. Very young. I think he's 19.
Yeah, I mean he's like what 6'5" ish.
6'5", 165. I don't know how to feel about it though.
And he played for the NBL, Australia, league or whatever last season. So I mean he's an athlete.
Yeah, I know he's super fast.
Yeah. That's funny. RotoWire projects him as having a skill set similar to JHS.
Yeah, I'm done. Turn off the draft. I've heard enough. Next pick, bro. What is it? New York?
Really
New York's next.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, bro. We're moving on. I've heard enough. You said JHS. Next pick.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying. Hey, I'm not saying that's what I think. I'm just saying that's what there's a comparison to. But anyways, so next up, it's the Knicks, right? They have back-to-back picks at 24 and 25, right? So they get 2 picks for the price of
none.
I guess 2. So yeah, So one of them I think is going to be a center, but who's available at this point?
It
right?
ain't a lot, bro.
Because Holmes is gone.
Yep.
Missy's gone.
Yep.
Right? Ware's gone. And then obviously the other guys who we thought would go earlier anyway, so they wouldn't be available, like Edey and Klingon, those guys are long gone.
Mm-hmm.
So who the heck is left at this point?
Nobody. I'm kidding. There's guys that are projected in the second round, but like,
right?
This
yeah,
is so
I mean,
stupid.
because the last few picks, like not all of them, but the last few picks were guys that I didn't have as first round picks.
Same.
I guess maybe they like. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe they like those guys more, and so they're like, we'll get them, for 3-4 years or whatever. But this was unexpected. So I guess, the question is now, if the Knicks, I'm going to assume, here we go. The Knicks are trading 24 to the Wizards.
Oh, do it, Wizards, please. Pick Collier, man.
Now, I was going to say, the question is, who are you going to pick?
Collier or Kaishan George. One of those two, please.
It got to be Collier.
It has to be.
And it's Bronny. No, I'm joking.
Hey, calm down with all that, bro.
I'm joking.
Bro, if the Wizards get Bronny, bro, no longer a fan. There's no hate against Bronny.
But that wouldn't be ideal. So, but I guess the question is, who are they picking?
Collier, please. This is our draft, bro. I actually feel relevant.
Here we go. Washington is targeting Kaishan George. There you go.
I'll take it. I will take it. He's elite, bro. He might be like one of the steals of the draft, and that's no like glaze or anything like that. Like, bro, I'm just saying the guy's physicals are crazy.
Right. Now, I guess the question is, are they swapping picks? Like, do the Wizards get,
that's what I would be concerned about.
Yeah, do the Knicks go down to 26 from 24?
Take Johnny Davis.
That would be funny, but I think he's probably stuck there unless they. I think he's probably stuck there unless they, non-guarantee his deal. So.
Yo, AJ Johnson averages 3 points a game.
Yeah, that's why I was like, next pick. When he said JHS, I was good off that. People, they're saying like his physicals are what like.
Yeah, he's an athlete.
He's quick, he's fast, he can pass, he can get downhill, but that's about it. Like, and it's not like he's elite at those things, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah. Like it's a flyer. You're taking a flyer on a guy.
Like
so
it's JHS, bro. Like I'm good off
also,
that.
And also, he's probably not going to play, for the Bucks.
No.
I mean, he'll play in the summer league. He'll play in preseason. But it's another guy where he probably won't play unless either somebody's hurt or something went really wrong, right? Maybe like somebody's hurt and then he plays well, so then he finds his way into the rotation. But again, Doc doesn't like playing young guys.
Yeah.
That's not really his thing.
Oh my God, bro. I swear to God.
So.
I swear to God. Because I remember I watched a video. I showed you the video already. With Will Dawkins, the general manager of the Wizards, and he was talking about Bronny, like he's on their radar. Like this is making me nervous, bro. Pick Collier, man.
I mean, again, the GMs are going to say, here we go. Knicks traded 24 to Wizards for 26 and 51. So there you go. So they basically just swap spots.
I'll take it. That's
and
fair.
You gave up 51 and 26, but you got a guy that you wanted. So that's fine.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
3 players in one draft that are all going to play. What
Yeah,
y'all
and they're all
think
cheap.
about Kel Ware? He's awesome. We love that pick.
Yeah.
That's an A+
Yeah, that was
pick.
the-
Amazing
Yeah, I was
pick.
gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna say that one surprised us because we didn't expect him to go that high, but we like the pick a lot. You know, I had him like at 6. I had him at 17, but I love it for Miami. He said, "I told you nobody wants big back Collier." Yeah, I think that's got to be the most shocking fall of all. Because again, you know, even like people who were talking about the draft, who I know weren't like super high on him, still had him as like middle of the first round. Like they still didn't have him like much worse than like, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, now we're almost at the end of the first round and he still hasn't picked. He still hasn't been picked. And it's like, who's picking him? I don't know. So
I still can't get over Topich. I can't get over freaking Rob Dilling. I don't believe this. This is a wild. This was not how I thought the draft was going to go. And Collier still sitting around. Like, this is nuts, man.
AJ Johnson getting picked in the first round. I didn't have him in the first round at all, if I'm gonna be honest. I mean but like I forgot. You said next pick. Like,
Yeah,
so
bro. We're good off that, bro. We're good off that, little bro.
So he shot. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, we're good off that, bro.
No, because like when he said 3 points a game, I was intrigued, and then I wanted to look at the shooting percentages. Yeah, next pick. Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Next up is so the Knicks, right? They're gonna be selecting at 25 and 26. So they just traded one pick down, but they still have back-to-back picks. So who are they picking?
Ryan Dunn.
I guess Ryan Dunn is. I think we're both under the assumption that Ryan Dunn is one of them, but who's the other one?
Yeah, it's got to be a big.
Yeah, because I thought it would be Holmes, but he's long gone. So
Yeah.
you know, and I don't know if I don't know if the other bigs are going to be drafted here. But then I didn't expect the other guys to be drafted here, so it could happen. So, you know, we'll see. But yeah, because I mean, did they take Collier?
No.
Probably not.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, because like they have Brunson, they have Bridges, they have DiVincenzo and McBride. So I mean, like,
Oh, this is the guy, Ulrich
that's who they
Chomche.
picked?
No. I'm saying
That's
like
who-
this is who they should pick.
Oh,
It's
that guy. Okay,
Ulrich
yeah.
Chomche, the guy from NBA
Yeah.
Africa Academy, 18, Cameroonian. The guy who I said reminded me of like Serge Ibaka, potentially, like shades of.
Yeah, okay. I guess I forgot about his name. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ulrich. Yeah, that guy. He's tough,
Yeah,
bro.
Ulrich Chomche.
Yeah, he's
I
tough.
got you.
Yeah, Chomche, he's tough.
Yeah, okay.
It's just
so-
like young, very young project, but I think
Right.
it could pay off. Because he's 7 feet, bro. 225.
right.
That gives you the size. What's up?
No. I thought I saw something, but nothing's happened yet. So,
Okay,
but,
gotcha.
but like, so are you saying you think the Knicks are gonna pick him?
Yeah, I think they're gonna pick Ryan Dunn and Ulrich Chomche. Yep.
Okay.
Yes,
All
sir.
Let's see what happens.
And then I don't know
you know,
who.
obviously-
I don't know what's gonna be next. Like after those
Right.
two, like
Right. Because
Who's
who's
it
at
gonna-
27?
it's Minnesota.
It was, it's Minnesota, right? Who already, you know, they got somebody that they like, but they're gonna have somebody else.
I feel like they're gonna.
And then-
They should get Terrence Shannon Jr. I'm telling you, bro. He's the sleeper. It's just the off the court
Okay.
stuff is ridiculous. Like it's a non-starter.
Right. So basically, if you're Minnesota, you possibly get 2 scoring guards, you know, to help you with your offensive woes. So that would be a pretty good, you know, first round draft, you know, if you're Minnesota. But
Oh,
obviously
yeah,
that
yeah.
hasn't happened yet. But, you know, with the Knicks, you almost wonder like if Dunn's name like has happened so much that okay, never mind. No, Woj is just saying the same thing that Sham said about the 51 pick. But you almost wonder, like, is it possible that like Dunn's name came up so much that he doesn't go there? But like, you almost would say like his name has come up so much, how does he not go there? Because I
Exactly.
think with Holmes, right, he stopped his workouts because it was reported that there was a team that was going to, that was gonna take him, and people were saying it was Denver, and it obviously was Denver. So,
Yeah, awesome pick.
And
Right.
the Knicks are trying to move again. The 26th pick.
Okay, so that's interesting. So they're still gonna use their 25th pick. It's just they may move the 26th pick. So I wonder what they do with that. So he says they're selecting 25 now. I guess the question is, who is it gonna be?
Ulrich Chomche. I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's we'll see, but obviously, a lot's going on right now because again, like the Knicks, it looks like I said that they're moving that 26 pick, but like I said, does that mean that they're going to trade down? Does that mean they're going to just,
Oh my
trade
god.
what?
I was just saying, oh my god, because I was looking at the highlight reel for Keyshawn George. Oh my god,
Yeah.
balling, bro. I'll take it.
So yeah, exactly. Like if you're the Wizards, you should be pleased because it's like,
Heck yeah.
you picked 3 players in the draft, that people like, right? Or I guess some people like. You're still going to be bad, but it doesn't matter. Like,
Thanks.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah, I
it
know.
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because you're still going to be in a great position to get a top pick next year, right? Which is going to be an even better draft. So I
Yeah.
mean, I think what they did tonight was pretty much a no-brainer. Like and
You're-
obviously we talked about what they did before. We didn't know that they were going to do this other stuff, but we liked it before. I think you can like it even more now, considering what they did with it.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. So now it says the Knicks are planning to pick at number 25 and number 26. So Woj basically just dunked on his own reporting.
Yeah,
Got
that's
it.
hilarious.
So now we just have to wait for who they end up picking.
This should be
And I
fun.
can hear the storm clouds outside, so that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, we probably got what, 30 minutes or less,
Yeah, so
Lord willing.
right, yeah. So I mean,
They need to end this draft with a banger. I need the Boston Celtics to draft either Isaiah Collier or Bronny.
yeah, you had somebody else, the Cretan guy, right? You had him.
Yeah,
going in.
Creighton Baylor Shearman. I think that's how you say
Yeah.
his name. Excuse me.
Right.
But yeah, he's
Well,
tough.
Well, we got the pronunciations.
Yeah.
In our collection, so
Yeah.
we'll have that ready for our regular
Yes.
episode that we'll do
Yes.
on Thursday after the
Second round, man. We're about to be burnt out. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
after this, I'm knocking out, man. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah,
tired.
I mean, again, yeah, and it's also just kind of like at times kind of hard to keep up, with some of the stuff that was going on, like because to be honest, I don't have the broadcast on. I'm just following, the picks on X.
Yeah, I have the broadcast up. It's been crazy. Like, to see some people's reactions to stuff has been wild. And I swear that Spurs trade took like 10 years off my life. Like, that's
Like,
how I
I
feel,
still-
bro. Like, it drained me of like, not necessarily all the enthusiasm I had, but it was such a good
I
fit.
know
It was
I
such a
know.
good fit, bro. Like, I was ready to talk about it in a video. The Spurs backcourt is immaculate, all this stuff, and then the Spurs
And then they-
backcourt is half. Like, bro, all right, bro, whatever, half complete.
But I
Come
guess,
on, man.
you better hope you get a good pick next year. So
Yeah, man.
yeah, so I mean,
I'm
that's
just
kinda
waiting
what
for
you have to hope
Ulrich Chomche, bro.
So you actually think he gets picked in these next two
I
picks?
mean,
or just like,
bro, he's the only center available, right? Who are the other centers?
the Duke guy, I guess.
Filipowski?
I guess.
I think he goes lower.
Yeah, I mean, I think he goes second round as well.
I thought I had him first round. I thought he was just going to Utah. It just seems like a Utah pick.
You mean at 10?
Huh?
At 10?
I'm talking about Kyle Filipowski.
Okay.
I'm saying like he's going to Utah at 29.
Okay, at 29. I was
Yeah,
like, I
wait,
forgot.
10. No, I'm not talking about that pick. That pick was
Okay.
immaculate. Great
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he could still
No.
go there. So
No, I did not have Kyle Filipowski going number 10, chat. I
here
had
we go. Knicks are targeting Pacome Dadier.
no
that's another
way. No
That's a
way.
guy- That's a guy whose stock has
Risen.
gone up. Yeah, it's gone up a lot, right? He's, been playing overseas, right? Obviously, he's a guy, that's got some potential to him.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I thought that they might take a guard.
No.
Just because I thought that they might actually just end up, because we talked about it. Like, what if they end up not taking Ryan Dunn? Now they may still take him at 26. But Dadier, right? He's like 6'8".
Yeah, 210.
What, another French guy?
210, yeah.
Yeah, 210. So, he's got some, intriguing things about him, right? I mean, he averaged what, 16 and 4?
Yeah, he's pretty dang good.
Yeah. So, obviously, he can play multiple positions. So, but like I said, I mean, I guess he probably won't play a whole lot for the Knicks early on because, he's very young, right? So
18. It's another Bilal
Yeah.
pick, bro.
yeah, exactly. So, pretty wild, but
Yeah. Yeah, his pro comparison for anybody who's still in here is Wilson Chandler.
yeah, former Nick actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
6'8",
so-
210, 18 years old. Versatility, motor, big wing archetype is what they're saying. But they're just
Yeah,
saying,
now,
his
Woj-
age, efficient production
Yeah.
is the thing,
Yeah, it's funny. Woj called him a guard, but like you said, he's 6'8", so it's
He's
like
a small forward.
yeah,
2-2-3. Really 3-2.
yeah.
I wouldn't classify him as like a 1-2.
He's not going to play point guard on that team. Like you got Brunson, you got a lot of ball.
Bro, he might not play on that team at all.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he'll play a lot in this year. Like, because like you said,
No.
he's 18. Late first round pick. He'll probably maybe he plays garbage time. Maybe
Yeah.
if somebody's hurt.
Good pick, though.
But he'll also probably spend some time in the G League. But yeah, this is a guy that a lot of people were starting to get higher on because some people even had him like upper 20s, late teens.
Yeah, I
think
heard.
that would have been a little bit of a reach,
Yeah.
but which is again probably why he fell. So
Man,
now I
listen,
guess we just have what?
Let me ask you something. How the hell y'all supposed to get through round 2, bro?
I mean, it's going to be fun. I think the main
Yeah.
thing that's going to carry us is going to be Bronny. I think everybody's waiting for the
Yeah.
moment that he's picked. And if
Right.
he's not picked, that works out even better in a lot of other people's favors. Like,
Yeah.
we can
I
make
think-
an infinite amount of videos on that and have a whole
Yeah.
conversation about it.
Yeah, I think if you're the NBA, I think you're kind of hoping that Bronny doesn't get picked tonight, so that way people have a reason to watch the second round. Because I don't think as many people are going to watch the second round if he's drafted within the next few picks.
Yeah.
Because I think there'd be a lot of people waiting to see where he gets picked. But I mean, there's only a handful of picks left, right? Because we're about to be at 26, right? So you have 5 picks left in the first round.
And it's like my last 2 brain cells are doing a freaking conga dance trying to figure out how the heck the Spurs fumbled that generational backcourt.
I'm still not happy about that. If like I said, I don't know any Spurs fans in my immediate vicinity, so it's like I do wonder. I
Go
don't
on
think we
Instagram.
have any Spurs fans subscribe to us, but I do wonder anybody who is a Spurs fan. How do you feel about what they did? Because, like I said, I think when they took Castle, everybody liked it. When they took Dillingham, we all liked it, and then he got moved. I mean, I guess if you're Dillingham, like you said, he's probably. I guess is he happier that he's in Minnesota, or is he or would he have been happier if he was in San Antonio?
Right. I think it would have been a win-win for him. Like, obviously, either way, he gets to go to a good situation. But I think Minnesota is the better situation. Obviously, they're in contention right now.
Right. Yeah, I guess you can make the case he would probably play more right away for the Spurs, but long term, it may be better for Minnesota. But then it's like you have Wemby, so it's like,
Yeah, I'm looking on IG. Spurs fans are pissed,
just,
bro.
like you said, I'm still baffled by that. That's up there as like one of the most. Yeah, it's one of the most baffling draft situations that I can recall. Right? Because even the year that everybody pan that draft. What was it, 2013? I don't think there was like this much like, I mean, I guess the number one pick was absolutely nuts because I don't think anybody thought that Anthony Bennett was getting picked number one. But, because everybody thought it was like Nerlens Noel. But,
okay.
it's just like.
So it looks like Spurs fans, they're kind of split on it. So some of them think it's a good idea because they can potentially use the future picks to trade for an awesome like star level talent.
And that's what I was thinking.
Which is okay, but at the same time, you had Rob in your hands, bro, and that's what the other people are saying. Like they're like, why did we trade Rob to one of our biggest competitors for the next 10 years? Y'all traded him for a 12-year-old who's cranking 90s on Fortnite. Like they're not wrong, bro. This is like that draft class. We don't even know who's going to be in that class. Like, let's be serious.
Well, all right, here we go. Knicks are trading 26 to the Thunder. Why, I don't know, but they are.
All right, bro. I don't know what to make of that. Well, no Ulrich. What is his name? Ulrich Chomche? No Ulrich Chomche.
Ulrich Chomche to the Knicks. Sorry, buddy. I don't know what to say about that. But OKC, Homelander, if you're here, it looks like they're taking Dylan Jones. Okay. That was a guy that I had as a second round pick.
How did you say that with a straight face, bro? I can't.
I mean, no, because I said it. I said in our mock draft, I had him as like hey, this guy could be a decent second round pick.
Yeah.
I did not have him as a first round pick.
Yeah, that's the guy from Weber, right?
Yeah, 6'5", big dude, really good rebounder, defender. I don't really think he can shoot. So it's like, I don't.
The trend continues, bro.
Yeah. Could he be like?
Damn,
could he
bro.
be like PJ Tucker / THT? I don't know.
Bro, he's not even playing. He's not playing.
Bro, he might not even make the roster, bro. This might be a G League guy. And that's no hate towards the guy. I'm just burnt out. I don't have the attention span to hear Dylan Jones' stats, bro. Like, are we serious?
I didn't expect. Yeah, you're surprised I said it with a straight face. Yeah, I can do that.
I don't know how the heck you said that with a straight face, bro.
Well, because I was like, well, that was a guy that I said was, could be a hidden gem, but not as a first round pick.
If I was announcing that pick, bro, there would have been no enthusiasm in my voice. I just would have been like, next pick. I mean, bro,
like,
no way.
Does the commissioner technically really give a ton of enthusiasm? Like, he usually just kind of says.
No, I'm talking about you.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I have the commissioner muted, bro.
I was gonna say, I guess me and the commissioner share some similar traits. I guess I don't know.
This is crazy, bro.
Yeah, I guess the commissioner.
So what?
The next 3 picks or 2 picks, whatever. If it's not Collier and Bronny.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot because who's 27? That's Minnesota.
Right?
So
it's got to be Terrence Shannon Jr., bro.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I had the KJ guy, but you don't need KJ anymore now that you got Dillingham. You might as well, like you said, go get Shannon. You might as well do that.
Like that's actually somebody that I can talk about with a straight face, bro. Like considering his talent.
So if Minnesota had drafted Dylan Jones, like you wouldn't have been that high on it, but it's like the Dillingham pick makes up for it, so it doesn't even really matter.
100%.
Yeah. So but like if they take Terrence Shannon, then like that's a really good draft, I think, for Minnesota, because it's like you got 2 guys that kind of fill, I guess. Now I don't know if positions of need is necessarily the right term, but like just archetypes of need, because like you needed more offense, in that second unit. Because it's like, other than Edwards, you don't really have any other perimeter scorers, right?
Second round picks for Dylan Jones.
Oh my god.
Okay, all right.
This is deal.
All right.
5.
All right. 5. This was like last year's, or I guess 2 seasons ago, the trade deadline, when we saw like Thomas Bryant getting traded to Denver for 5 seconds, or like Jay Crowder getting traded to Milwaukee for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, where is this coming from? Like, I mean,
this is crazy.
What was the point of? I mean, I guess if you're OKC, you got 5 seconds, but I guess you could say they could use the 5 seconds at the deadline, or you could use
spread them out
in the offseason to trade, for somebody. Because that's where I'm looking at it from the Spurs perspective. Because like I said, with the Spurs, like the only way you save save this is if you can use those picks and actually trade for somebody. Like if they get some good guard, or something like that with those future picks, then I'm cool. Like I'm not mad.
Yeah.
But if all you just did was just trade Rob Dillingham for picks, literally like 6, 7 years from now, I don't know. Like
if they get Trey out of it, I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
or
like I
even
wouldn't say
DeJounte
I'm
Murray back.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say I'm requesting a trade if I'm Wemby, but I mean,
That was another thing. Somebody said on Instagram, they were like, this is reminding them of Kawhi. Like they feel like they're messing it up. Like Wemby's gonna walk away, just like Kawhi. It's like, dang. Like, I didn't even really think of it like that.
At least they were able to trade Kawhi, though, right? Like
no, but that's what I'm saying. Like he's gonna request a trade, is what I'm saying.
Right.
What do you get out of Wemby? What do you like? You get 10 first-round picks.
I don't know what anybody would like.
That would be
I mean, I wouldn't trade him if I'm the Spurs. Like, I mean, I guess if he requested a trade, like, you almost would have to do it. But he has to be like, he must have like one of the highest trade values in the league, even though he's not like a top 5 player. I feel like he's got like top 5 trade value.
top 1.
Like, yeah, I mean, he might be one.
It might be him and Luka.
Yeah, I think it's him and Luka.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to put Giannis in that conversation too.
I guess Giannis and Jokic, like I don't think those guys are going anywhere.
No.
Like, well, I mean, Giannis may be more likely just because his team is in a different spot. But like, as long as they're good, he's probably not gonna, be super frustrated. And then Jokic is definitely not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yo, OKC traded 5 seconds for a nigga named Dylan Jones.
Yeah, that pissed me off. I saw that notey. I was like,
bro, why is it taking so long now for people to get paid too?
I guess like if these trades are happening, that might be why. Because it's like the trades are happening, then they have to so they have to canvas around and make the trades. Then if they make the trades, then they gotta shift everything around and see who they're gonna pick. So,
yeah, because trades take a lot of research, bro. Because you have to also research who you're trading for. Like it's crazy. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and it's like Minnesota needs to hurry up, bro.
Yeah,
this better be Terrence Shannon Jr.
There
man.
you go. There you go. You'll be happy about this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what it was supposed to be from the jump.
There we go. Yeah. So there you go.
No questions.
And that's smart because, like you said, he's probably one of the better players available, and he fills a need. Now, in terms of a style of play that they don't really have, they don't have a lot of perimeter scoring other than Edwards, so that's a no-brainer. And again, another cheap guy that you don't have to pay a ton, that can grow over the next few years, and ideally he'll be a rotational guy, if not this year, the next year. So, now Miami Heat Zone asks, will Collier fall to the second? I mean, he's only got a few chances left. You got 28, you got 29, and you got 30. So 28, I think, is Phoenix, right? So Phoenix, assuming
Phoenix is gonna take him.
Assuming Phoenix doesn't trade down again, right? It's between them. Who is at 29?
Utah and Boston.
And then Boston. So it's either Phoenix,
bro.
Utah, or Boston.
Lord help me. Lord give me strength, bro.
Unless somebody trades down.
What if Bronny gets drafted to Celtics, dog? Yo.
If that happened, bro, I saw somebody on Twitter. They were like, "Yeah, the Celtics are gonna hold Bronny hostage." I was like, "What?"
That was Simmons. That was Bill Simmons.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, I was like, "What, bro? What is this guy talking about?"
Yeah, Miami Heat Zone also says Tyler Kolek is left as well. I mean, is he gonna be a first round pick now?
No.
Because
Collier's got to be picked before Tyler Kolek, bro. Why is this even a debate, bro? This is stupid. Never in my life would I be thought of this, bro.
Phoenix is selecting Ryan Dunn. There we go. So they picked the wing. They picked the wing. I mean, if you're not gonna get a guard, I guess you get a wing. Because they do need wing defense. For sure. They do need.
Oh my God. Collier said the second round. Collier undrafted. Oh my God, this is ridiculous.
Would be nice on the Heat. Do they have another pick?
Please, yeah, we do, but I don't want that fat fuck. Yo.
Oh my God. So 29, Utah.
Yo, 29.
Collier going to Utah. Collier, is he going to Utah?
Nah.
No, they actually might, because if Sexton gets traded, Clarkson's up in the air. They don't have a guard over there, right?
They have Keontae George.
Keontae George, that's it. I'm pretty sure, unless there's somebody I'm forgetting.
They might. I mean, I don't know. They might. But dude, having Keontae George and Collier as your fucking oh my, bro.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't think the Heat.
know.
Do the Heat have another pick? Where's their pick? Because it's not 53.
Yeah. Martell said 53, but do they?
No, it's not.
No,
53 is Golden State.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would think that'd be too high. I think it would probably be a little bit different than that because they were, like record wise, a little like middle of the pack, right?
No,
Yeah,
we got 44.
44.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was saying thought it would be earlier than 53.
Wait, what? 44 is Houston, right? Oh, you have 43. Okay, so it's 43. Confirmed. It's 43.
43.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I didn't think it was 53.
If Collier falls all the way to 43, bro, dude.
Would you be okay taking him at 43?
I mean,
Yeah,
at
would you
that,
be okay?
I mean, at that point, sure. I mean,
Yeah.
like, bro, at that point, fuck it. Like,
Yeah. But I think if you're the Heat, I think you should be happy with Kalal Ware. I think like the fact that he was still there, and they took him, I think that's a really good pick.
Oh, that's
for Mike.
elite.
no, definitely.
The Miami
Okay.
Heat select Big Back Collier.
Bro, I definitely think Boston's taking Collier though. If Utah doesn't take Collier, Boston's taking Collier.
Yeah.
Watch.
I mean, I had them taking Shannon, but he's obviously already off the board. So I mean, but I also had Collier at 15.
I had Utah taking Kyle Filipowski. This is interesting.
Yeah, do they take him? You think?
I think so. I'm telling you, now it feels like it's done, bro. I think Collier is going to the second, bro. Confirmed.
Yeah. Nice work, guys. Enjoyed your takes. We'll
Appreciate
help
it.
Collier drop a few pounds. Yeah, we appreciate the love and support. Yeah, a lot of Collier hate, going on around here. Seems like. But I guess the NBA teams kind of almost collectively were like, yeah, let's hate on this guy because he's still not picked.
Yeah,
So-
bro. And it's like you look at the guy's stats. It's not horrible,
Right. I thought he was gonna go in the teams. I really did not. I mean, because I definitely didn't have him 5, right? Because I know his stock had fallen for everybody. But I'm surprised that he went this far. But I mean, like, I guess at this point, there's only a couple of picks in the first round left because you have, 29 and 30, right? So
the reason why he's falling. I'm reading this thing. It just came out like 50 minutes ago. Is he's not a great decision maker.
Okay.
And they say he's gonna be in a G League.
Who?
Yo, he said he's gonna be in the G League if he lands like with a playoff level team. There you go. Okay. Yep. There you go.
Okay,
You got
Utah picked Isaiah Collier. Thank
there
God.
we go. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, yo,
There you go.
dude. Now Keontae George and Collier. Oh my God. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a potential filled backcourt, but it also has potential to just blow up in your face, bro. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause,
That's
I
so
mean,
volatile.
George-
I don't like that.
yeah, because I mean,
George is awesome.
Yeah, George is good. But
But
the verdict is still out on Collier.
I will say though, this is perfect for Collier because the Jazz are in a position they're just having fun at this moment, right? So
Yeah.
he can just keep developing with no pressure, and he's in a place where it's like, if he sucks, he sucks. They're not about to like cooking his ass like if he was on the Lakers or some like Heat or some shit. Like he's in Utah. Like who the hell's watching Utah games? So he just
Right.
he's gonna be fine over there.
Yeah.
So. Well, I
There'll
mean,
be
I'm
more
glad.
potential for minutes.
I'm glad. Yeah, and he's gonna get more minutes exactly. So this is good for him. Now we're picking at 30.
We're at 30, right? So this is Boston. This is Boston, the defending champs. So,
Swear to God, if it's Bronny, we riot.
So
bro.
we could. I mean, I'm prepared for anything, right? Because I know you mentioned Baylor, whatever.
I think it's Shearman.
Yeah, Baylor Shearman. I mean, Filipowski. I mean, they already have big, so I don't know if they would take another one. Maybe like a Al Horford replacement in the future, maybe. But I mean, those guys are still different players. So
Yeah,
I mean,
there's no way Bronny's getting drafted in the first round. There's just no fucking way, bro.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I think he's going to be in the second round. So I mean, he's projected to go 55. That's the Lakers' second round pick. But I guess the question is like I feel like he could be taken earlier than 55. Just but I mean there were guys that I thought would be taken earlier that fell. That fell. So
damn near the end of the draft. That shit was brutal.
yeah. So
Yeah, I feel bad, but at least he got picked though.
yeah, Collier. Yeah, I mean, you got a 4-year deal, and you're on a team where you're probably gonna play. Unless something goes horribly wrong, because like Trent said, you look at their guard situation, and that's not a certainty. Like other than George, right? Because Sexton, like he said, could be gone. Clarkson could be gone. What other guards do they have that am I forgetting any other guards?
I think that's about it.
Yeah,
no,
so
not nobody. So Collier and George, and then you got Laurie Marketing, Kessler. Yeah, okay. Maybe they can build something over there.
No.
Let me ask you something. Who has a brighter future, Portland or Utah?
Portland.
I think Portland right now.
Yeah, Portland's looking pretty damn good right now.
Yeah,
I like all their athleticism. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what they did in the draft, I guess. I like what they did with Denny Avdia, and then, you still have other young players that they already had drafted before. Like they still have Simons, they still have Scoot, they still have Sharp. And then we don't know what they're gonna do with the other bigs, but you can always trade those guys. So
But Scoot needs to have a really good year though, because that rebuild won't go nowhere if Scoot's not having a good year.
100%. It's built around him.
Yeah. Year two, he needs to be really good. Like
All right,
obviously,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say Boston. Just hurry up, man. Just tell me who you're picking, bro.
Yeah. I mean, do we think it'll be Baylor, Shearman?
That's what I'm thinking.
You think so?
Yeah.
He feels like a Boston guy.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's Sam Hauser depth chart. Like you just add to it.
Yeah.
Well, they
you
said
think Jordan Wall? Yeah.
They said Porzingis is not going to be ready for the beginning of the season either.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they'll still be fine. Like in terms of like they're still going to be able to win games. Like, it's just a matter of like how long is he out? Like is he out for like the first couple of weeks? Is he out for the first like month or two? Yeah. Like I don't know. So,
bro, Isaiah Collier isn't even that fat, bro. Now I'm looking at him. Like, he's not even that fat.
Nah, I mean, dude, he's 6'1".
Bro, everybody's been saying different heights. Is he 6'5", 6'1", or 6'3"?
I think at the combine, I want to say they said without shoes, he's like 6'2.5" or something like that. So
yeah, he's just stocky, bro. He ain't fat.
Yeah, so I don't think he's 6'5". So he's
6'5". Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's not 6. Yeah, so if he's 6'2.5" in shoes, he's probably like 6'4" or something if you put shoes on.
Yeah, figured.
Yeah. But I mean, like him being that height, like as opposed to 6'5", is that like because he already listed a lot of the other reasons why he fell because he's he listed all of them out. Could the height thing be part of it too?
I think so. I think it's the height, and you probably look at the efficiency, and you kind of just are like, eh.
The one that I still don't understand is how did Topic's camp like fool people about his wingspan? I feel like you could look at I just feel like you could look at a picture and tell like if somebody has long arms or not. Like maybe like especially if it's a negative wingspan. If it's a negative wingspan, like that should be pretty obvious. Okay, like is this pick out or no? Like
I mean, just looking at the guy's picture, bro, you can clearly see as the T-Rex arms build. So it's like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, L. Topic, bro. Nikola Lopic, bro. God, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, be laughing when he has a fucking a superstar year.
If he has a superstar year, I'll take the L, bro. But
remember, I told you I wanted him.
Yeah, the guy's not good, bro. I stand on it.
Yeah. Are you happier to have Ware or would you have preferred Topic?
I would say I'm fine with having a big, but Celtics are drafted, so Bronny did not get drafted.
Celtics picked Baylor Shearman.
Shearman.
Whatever, Shireman. I think it's Shireman. I think that's his actual pronunciation.
Well, let me check the thing.
I did. It's Shireman. It's Shireman.
Yeah, Shireman. Thank you.
Yeah, Shireman.
Now, people, this was all planned. They knew Bronny was going to second round, and that's why they did 2 rounds to get more views. It's not just come on. It's all freaking planned.
I mean, like I said, I personally prefer the one day, but I also understand, like, from a lot of people's perspective, like, if you don't want to stay up until midnight to watch the entire draft on a Thursday, like, I get it. I just feel like having the second round on one day by itself is kind of pointless, but, you know, I get it.
I'm gonna miss it, but wherever Bronny goes, in my pick, I'm gonna make a video on
Yeah.
for sure.
That's if he even gets drafted, because he could go undrafted. That's another thing too.
Yeah. So
Well, they said they don't want him doing that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
yeah. So Dunn, we liked the pick. We didn't like the pick. We liked it, right? For
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a defense first wing. And then Shireman, excuse me, Baylor
yep.
Shireman. Okay, I mean, yeah, that should be another guy that should be, you know, he should be fine. Like you said, another Sam Hauser guy, you know, for Boston, and you know, they have enough guys where it's like, you know, he'll be able to fit in at some point, right? Like
Yeah.
he'll probably just get randomly plugged in during regular season minutes, and then you know he'll get a shot. We'll see. I mean, Walsh didn't play at all,
Mhm.
but you know he might play more in year 2. Who knows?
Yeah. Forgot about that guy.
So yeah, so the first round is a wrap, right? The first round is done. It's 11-16 on the East Coast. All 30 picks are all in. There were some good ones. There were some very surprising ones. There were some funny ones. But, you know, this was a draft. You said what?
It definitely was.
Yeah, so, like, as a whole, how do we feel about it? Because I think it was a lot more entertaining than I really expected, you know, considering that this is a draft that isn't regarded that highly, right? Because we've talked about it where it's like there's still a lot of players that can help you, even if there aren't necessarily a lot of superstar players, which is the thing that we still like about it, because you always want to look for positives, you know, in situations like that, especially because the discourse around this draft was so negative. But, you know, we already talked about a lot of the picks and the teams, you know, that we liked in terms of what they did, but just kind of give your guys' thoughts on, you know, the draft before, or round one, I guess, before we probably wrap this up.
I mean, this was a solid first round. I thought, you know, most teams executed. I think there are some moves where we kind of have to wait and see what the next steps of the itinerary are. But overall, I enjoyed this draft. I think, you know, there is a pathway for all of these guys to succeed, you know, in the areas that they were drafted in. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. There were definitely some winners, definitely some losers. I'm happy for my team. I think they pulled off a massive W. Selecting 3 people in the first round is awesome. And you were able to flip some stuff that we probably didn't need. So, yeah, I think I'm very high on this draft going into it. So, yeah, I'm kind of hyped for round 2, see if Bronny gets drafted, and we'll see what the future holds.
I would say, with a draft like this, all the expectations coming in, you know, a lot of people was kind of bashing this draft. But I can tell you this.
Mhm.
Outside of the other people that, you know, trading 5 second-round picks, I think, like, a lot of these players are going to be able to perform right away for your team. Like, I think Jared McCain's going to be perfect for Philly just for his shooting ability. I mean, Miami, they finally get a big, like, a lot of these pieces, Rob Dillingham playing with Ant, like, a lot of these pieces are going to, like, help their teams right away. So I love that. And, you know, a lot of teams are going to gamble, you know, when you get to the 20th pick to 30, because it's like, when you get around there, there's not much great talent, but, you know, OKC thought they had great talent by fucking trading, doing that dumb stuff. But it's a cool draft, man. It's very tiring, though. Holy crap.
Yeah. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. Do we have anything else to talk about before we wrap this thing up?
No, I mean, I guess the main thing is obviously round 2, you know, is tomorrow. Obviously, we're still also going to have, you know, some interesting, you know, off-season free agency stuff. Obviously, because there are guys that, you know, have re-signed with their teams, that kind of takes away from some players that may have entered free agency. But there's still other things, you know, going on, right? Like, where does Paul George go? You know, and other things like that. Of course, maybe there's another team that makes some trade that comes out of nowhere. But, you know, obviously that's not right now. Obviously, right now, the big thing is round 2.
Yeah.
So, you know,
What's up?
So Miami Heat Zone, just, you know, putting out his comments. He's mentioned Tyler Smith a lot. So, you know, I guess, you know, maybe he takes him, or maybe the Heat take him in the second round, because obviously there's still some guys that are left, you know, that we thought were going first round, but they weren't. But some of those guys may be better suited to be in the second round. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean,
but
Tyler
it
Smith is
right?
available, so that's pretty dope.
Yeah, because say like Furphy was a guy that we thought was going first round. He's going second round, right? Tyler Smith I had right at the end of the first round. He's going second round. I guess, like you said, Ulrich Chomche, that's another guy that's going to be second round.
Yes, sir.
Dylan Jones, right, was a guy that I thought was going second round, but he went first. So
yeah, it happens.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, just as a reminder for everybody, the second round is not at 7 o'clock. It's going to be at 4 p.m. So obviously, it's very understandable if nobody, if people aren't able to show up to that live stream. We'll still do one, but we'll also obviously have a regular episode, that we'll record probably after that or at some point too, right? And that'll be out on Friday. But obviously now you can just tell everybody what you got to say and then sign us off.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for everybody who showed up, showed out. We appreciate everybody's comments. We appreciate you, Miami Heat Zone. We appreciate you, Keith Wells. We appreciate you, Miami Heat Network. We appreciate you, Homelander. We appreciate you, Sam. We appreciate you, James Wiseman fan. That might be one of the longest lists we've had in a long time. Yep. So once again, thank you to all of you who showed up, showed out, commented, all that stuff. And we are going to, obviously, like Chris said, be streaming tomorrow, so please tune in for that. Like he said, don't feel any pressure though if you have other obligations. It is an awkward time. 4 p.m. is not the most ideal time to be streaming or really watching a draft event, in my opinion, but we're here and we're gonna cover it and all that stuff. So expect a full video recapping the entire draft, our full season thoughts, on the episode that comes out Friday. We appreciate all the support once again. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the OBT Podcast for more content and updates. And we will see you guys on the next one.